Good evening. This is the conference meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in the council chambers of City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Tuesday, April 21st, 2015, at 7:09 p.m. I'm going to do a roll call. Councilman Coley.
Present.
Councilman Corbett.
Here.
Councilwoman Eason. Councilwoman Gaunt Butler.
Present.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Here.
Council President Williams.
Present.
Also present, M. Smith, Deputy Municipal Clerk.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, that's what I want to. That's why I was.
We're quick tonight. Mr. Smith, City Attorney. Mr. Mapp, Director of Finance. Ms. Lascar, Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Harris, Legislative Research Officer. Ms. Amir from the Clerk's Office. Mr. Mays from representing the administration. Director Douglas from the Fire Department. I believe that's it. We got everybody. Please stand for a moment of silence.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Please be apprised everyone wishing to discuss agenda or general items shall sign one book. There will be 2 columns in the book, one agenda item and one for general issues. Each person signing the book will check the agenda items or general issues. If they check only agenda items or general issues, they will be allowed to speak for 5 minutes. If they check general issues and agenda items, they will be allowed to speak for 10 minutes. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 that set the Sunshine Law has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, published in the record transcript on July 17, 2014, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall and filed in the Office of the Municipal Clerk.
For matters of discussion, we have Mr. Joe Portelli from RPM. As you know, there's a development going on behind the post office by RPM, and I asked Mr. Portelli if you can come in and just give us an update and see if any council members have any question. And also, just as a to note that our registered municipal clerk, who starts on May 4th, she is also in the audience, and Mrs. Lanier. So everybody can get familiar with her. Can you wave your hand, Mr. Lanier? Mr. Portelli.
Good evening, folks. My name is Joseph Portelli. I'm Vice President for Development at RPM. I know most of you up here, but there are a few faces that I haven't met before, so for that reason I'll just give a very brief refresher on the scope of our project. It consists of 2 buildings. One is a 113-unit mixed-income, mixed-use rental building. It has 62 affordable housing units and 51 market-rate housing units, and approximately 6,800 square feet of ground floor retail. And the other building, which is being constructed simultaneously, is 24 for-sale condominium units. And also part of the project is a plaza and a new pickup and drop-off area in front of the train station. So as far as construction goes, it was a very slow start. We ran into some issues when we began to excavate. We found a lot of bad fill, and we encountered some pretty bad soil as we started to go down as far as 30 feet. So that delayed us a little bit, and by the time the extreme winter weather came around, we were still doing some digging, preparing for footings and foundations. The ground was frozen, need to be thawed, and then we were ready for steel. There was, it was icy, snowy, hard to do steel when it's cold and icy like that. But we finally hit our stride, and we're going vertical on the rental building. Framing has commenced. We've got a couple stories up on one side, and we've started the round portion of the building. And we are almost done with steel on the condominium building. We've just got to pour some concrete decking, and then we can begin to frame once that cures. And as far as overall schedule goes, we're looking at a fall 2015 completion date. So we'll be done before you know it. Another thing that I wanted to point out was local hiring. You may have seen a lot about it in the e-blasts that have been going out. I know I get those subscriptions. First Source is a program where we look to hire residents of the City of Orange first as new opportunities arise. And there have been 15 of those opportunities, all of which have gone to residents of the City of Orange. And 10 of those folks are still on the job. And they've worked across a variety of trades, from security to masonry to carpentry to they're going to be a local resident joining the electrician's crew. So we're really pleased as far as how that's gone. And a brief note on marketing and availability. We haven't officially started marketing the buildings yet, but we are taking contact information for people who might be interested in renting a unit or buying a unit. And for those who are interested, I would encourage them to reach out to a member of our leasing and sales staff. And the number for that is 973-744-5410, and the extension is 130. So it's our main line and extension 130.
Repeat it one more time, sir.
Sure. 973-744-5410, extension 130. And so when it does come time to roll out the marketing and start taking applications, those people who reached out will be among the first to know. And one other thing that I think I'd mention about the condominium units, for those who are interested in buying, I think the best piece of information I could probably share is for prospective homeowners to get their credit in order, seek their credit reports, maybe work on pre-qualification or pre-approvals with potential home lenders, and work on their credit score and keep saving. So that's typically the biggest challenge that we find when it comes to selling units. So something to keep in mind for those who are interested in purchasing a home. Okay.
You finished?
I am.
I have one question.
Councilman Corbett.
Just out of curiosity's sake, what kind of contamination did you find in your digging?
The soil wasn't contaminated. What we ran into was old footings and foundations. You may remember the 10-pin bowling alley. So not only did we find the footings and foundations there, really thick slabs of concrete that we ultimately had to crush with a big machine, but we also found bowling balls and beer bottles. Yeah.
Wow.
And pins. Yeah. So we got some souvenirs.
Good thing we didn't find.
Well, I guess as long as you didn't find any bodies.
That's
so
what I
good.
just said. I just said that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take bowling ball.
And what was your projected completion date?
This fall 2015.
Okay. Thank you, Council President, Vice President.
Council Vice President?
Yes, Councilwoman.
I forget your name.
Joe Portelli.
Joe Portelli. Joe, I was out there today, and I'm going to make a request. You're going to be behind the post office, and you're going to be landscaping your property. I'm in the process of trying to get the U.S. Postal Service to landscape the post office, because it would make no sense to me. We have that beautiful building in the back, and our post office in the front is total disarray. I mean, it's just a mess. I've had them do it before, but needless to say, they didn't maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
So you think if they don't do it, that you guys might could donate some landscaping for the post office to make it look a lot better around the front, so it would make your, you know what I'm saying? Make your building look better.
Around the front of their building?
Yeah, around the front.
On Main Street?
Yeah. So it would sort of make the whole property look really nice.
Mhm.
But let me see what they come back and say first.
Okay, I think that's a
If
good
they say
idea.
they don't have money and they say it's okay for you to do it, would you mind, you think, that y'all could just maybe spruce it up, put a few shrubbery out there?
I'm sure Ed would consider that.
All right? So
Mhm.
make that a note
I will.
and talk to your boss that that's something I would like to see happen, so that if we don't have one building looking great and then the post office in the front looks like, you know what I'm saying? It looks pretty horrible right now.
Okay.
In fact, if I'd had time today, I would have gone in and asked the postmaster to clean up the front. But just so that you will. Could I have one also?
Yeah.
Mr. Portelli, if you
Just make
just,
that as a note.
could you hand, how many cards? You have several?
I'm not several, but I think I have enough for
Could you
folks
hand
up
some to
front.
Councilman Coley and some to Councilwoman Summers Johnson, and they'll pass it down?
You guys all have one?
Thank you.
Or just enough?
Okay. Council members, any other questions for Mr. Portelli?
I have a question, Council
Councilman
President.
Johnson?
It may be directed at Director Mays too. Is there going to be any upgrading of the train station there at that location?
Mr. Portelli, do you want to get it to Director Mays, or do you want to answer?
I can answer that.
Yes, sir.
The renovation of the westbound Orange Station is not part of the scope of our project, except for just a small portion of the platform that has been affected as in connection with doing some of the work near the condominium building. But beyond that, it's not part of our project.
Right. That's why I wanted to direct that to Director Mays.
And you want him to follow up,
Yeah.
Director Mays?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. There's no plans right now. As you know, we were just awarded $614,000 to upgrade the Highland Avenue train station. So it's something that's in our plans, but we don't have the funds to do right now. And we're going to be looking at some grant, possibly going back for the same grant funds that we were just awarded to do that train station as well.
Could we consider the cleanup using our community service personnel?
Sure, that's not a
Once
problem.
this development goes down, I'm quite sure the footprint is going to allow people to walk to the train station.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that would probably be a nice area for dispatching our community service people.
Director
Okay,
Mays,
that's
do you
fine.
want to have Councilman Johnson kind of spearhead that for you?
That's
Just
fine.
here.
I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna give him another
Me and my big mouth.
There you go.
Oh,
I'm finished.
Council members, are there any other questions for Mr. Portelli? No?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the update.
Well, thanks for the update, Mr. Portelli. Do you want to stay through citizens' comments, or if not, we can give, do you plan on staying through the citizens' comments?
Whatever you'd like me to do.
Okay, if you would be so kind to stay through citizens' comments. Did you mention the commercial portion of the building?
I did.
Could you just, have you started talking to commercial potential tenants?
We have had a couple of conversations with brokers and actual tenants themselves. None of them have materialized into anything yet, but we're still, keeping that on our radar.
Okay. And the same, if a person was interested in the commercial space, they should contact the number that you gave earlier as well?
No, the number I gave earlier is for residential leasing. For commercial leasing, the extension is 150. And the person who handles that is Ellen Pignatello.
Can you spell Ellen?
Pignatello is
Pignatello.
Pignatello. And if you happen to misplace that, they could always call me too.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And if you would just sit through the citizens'
Mhm.
comments, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any family members here for Professor Binyard, Daphne Binyard? Okay. Moving the agenda. Are there any members who would like to discuss resolutions and or ordinances? No discussion?
Yes,
Councilman Cole?
115.
Yes, Councilman Cole?
Yes, the abandoned property list. Is there any plan of action for these properties, or we just put them on a abandoned property list and that is it?
Director Mays?
The goal would be to somehow package these properties and put some type of plan together to get some of these situations remediated. However, I'm not working on that. That's something that Chris Mobley is working on. I can ask him to come to the next meeting and give a presentation on what he's doing, but he is working on that.
Right, because I say that to say this. I haven't seen any plan of action for these lists of abandoned properties. So I would hope, or I would make a request that each one of these properties that is listed, rather than we just putting them on the list of being abandoned, we start some type of plan of action with code enforcement so we can get into the phase of taking these properties so we could legally sell them and get money for these properties, rather than just put them on the list and say they're on an abandoned property list and then that's it. And then they continue to be an eyesore in our neighborhoods and a haven for criminal activity.
Are there any other questions regarding Councilwoman Easton?
Through you to Mr. Mays. Mr. Ways, on Resolution 189, 2013.
189, 2013?
It's on the page, on the back of the, those properties on Aldine Place.
Wait, that's not on our part. Are you saying, the one that's behind? Where's
No,
189?
it's part of the same resolution.
Oh,
It's just
150.
broken down into different components.
Okay, so the same resolution, but the section that refers to 189, 2013. Okay.
Those properties on Aldine Place,
It's like,
This is all the stuff they put on yearly?
yeah, it's on the back.
Is this half the town?
Yeah, exactly. It's the back of the third page.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Easton.
aren't they all gone except one? So they were never removed?
I'm not sure. I have to check them. I
Well,
don't know off the
350
top.
is still there. But if I'm not mistaken, 348, 346, 347.
So he has to check Councilwoman and get
You
back
have to, I think at least 3 of them I know are gone on Aldine Place. Because it only had about, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 houses on Aldine Place?
Okay, I have to check that. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, because I think you just need to correct that. There is someone that's interested in 350. I know last year we talked about that, and you were gonna work with them to see what we could do with that. So did you ever get an answer?
No, I don't have anything new for 350.
Huh?
I don't have anything new for 350.
But the guy is still interested, so could we work on trying to get that property to him?
Okay.
But the good part about it was they sent a company out to clean it up last week, so they did an excellent job. And also, the Public Works Committee is working on something on the this same vein to try and do something with the vacant properties. I think they have some initiatives that we've started with the attorney to get some of the same suggestions that Councilman Coley talked about.
Is that it, Councilwoman?
Yes.
Councilman Coley?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you said that Chris Mobley heads up this initiative?
Well, he is heading up that initiative.
Okay, I will definitely reach out for him and try and get some clarity. Thank you.
Director Mays, regarding the same resolution 115, 2015, through you and to Attorney Attorney Smith. Do you have that resolution in front of you? Mr. Smith? Yes, sir. The question came up, 204, did you have the conversation regarding
What I did was I sent that information to the law department so we can get some type of legal opinion on that. So they have everything. I haven't heard anything yet.
can you summarize the question for Attorney Smith, please?
Basically, the question is, as I see it, whether or not we should include vacant land, the vacant land versus a structure. And we spelled it all out in the memo. I know Attorney Smith saw it, so I just need to get with him and see, what his response is.
Okay, Attorney Smith. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, we actually have someone preparing an opinion on that,
Okay.
but I don't have that with me.
You want to respond next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so the next meeting. And the question, Council, 204 Central Place was removed at the last meeting, Director, or the meeting previously
I think it was the last one.
from the abandoned property list. And the question is, it's still an abandoned property, but now since it's demolished, should it still be left on this list? And that's, we're waiting for the Attorney's Office to respond. Thank you, Director Mays. Council members, any other?
Yeah, Council,
Yes, sir.
regarding that issue,
Yes, sir.
it should, like you said, it should be clearly noted that this is just a lot. I mean, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to determine if it's a structure or a lot.
No, if the property is still abandoned though, so should it still be on this list is the question.
If it's not being upkept by the owner, if it's behind in taxes, if it's full of trash, if it's a dumping ground, it should be.
Okay.
These are just common sense things. We don't need to have no law discussion about this. This is common sense things.
Okay, and if that's the case, we'll have to put it back on the list, Director Mays, if it deems. Okay. Are there any more?
Council President,
Councilman
if I
Johnson?
may chime in on 1/15/2015.
Yes, sir.
I was glad to hear that that Mr. Mobley is involved in this, because it was under my assumption that this was all under code enforcement. And I've been dying to have somebody explain to me all about these Abandoned Property Rehabilitation Act, how strong the act is in the state of New Jersey. I know Senator Rice did something. Some of these properties are in the West Ward. I have neighbors clamoring me for information, but yet and still I can't get information to relay to those people. I have to have some kind of dialogue. It'd be great if Mr. Mobley could come here for discussion and just tell the council just how much strength behind these laws the city has to possibly maybe start taking some of these properties and selling them, or getting possession of them, as opposed to all we hear about is tax liens and so forth. I would be pushing to hear directly from Mr. Mobley, and I won't be chasing code enforcement if they're not involved.
And that would also be the council, Ms. Arnold too. Attorney Smith will be involved in that as well if it becomes a foreclosure issue? Yes, okay. Are there any other questions or any resolutions and or ordinances, council members?
Yes,
Councilwoman Gone Butler?
yes. Okay, so I have a few. Let me start with 114. My question is, this sounds like an excellent plan, the mitigation plan, but is there a reason why we didn't actually get the actual plan to read?
Mr. Wade?
Good evening, everyone. John Wade from the Office of Emergency Management, through the Council President. Just to answer the question, and I'll give a brief overview, and then I answer your question, Councilwoman. For the past year and a half, about a year and a half, I've been working with the Essex County Office of Emergency Management in preparation of a mitigation plan. Basically, what the plan entails, it's a actual work in progress right now, and basically, eventually it will be done, and we needed council support to proceed forward with that. Basically, we put some things together, everything from awareness, basically letting people know about being prepared. Director Douglas and myself have talked about an awareness campaign. I believe September is Awareness Month, Preparedness Month, National Preparedness Month. We want to put an awareness campaign together for that. In addition to, with respect to awareness, it comes down to some people that live in some flood areas, letting them know some of their options and some things they need to be made aware of. The plan also includes a couple of areas where we get some flooding. Marty Mays, United Water, we all got together and we talked about some of those issues and what did it take to deal with some of the flooding in different areas around town. Most of you here were here during Sandy, and you know some of the things we went through during Sandy. And some of those things I put in the plan to try to address. Some of those Sandy grants that you hear about a lot in South Jersey are starting to make their way up to this area for different things. So what I did was to address those flooding issues. United Water took a look at some things with Public Works and the engineering department, so we put some stuff together for that. In addition, we also looked at, we want to look at some things with respect to, as it relates to planning, certain structures, when they're built from a certain period of time, they need to have emergency generated power. Again, a lot of you were here, and you know some of the issues we dealt with during Sandy when we lost that power in a lot of these buildings that had a lot of people we had to take care of, get emergency generators and all that stuff. So basically, it's a plan that's in the works, and we need a council support to proceed forward. And once those FEMA grants and those FEMA dollars are going to be released in this area and the county as a whole, this was an entire county plan. All 22 towns worked with the Office of Emergency Management on this. Each town identified their specific and respective issues, and we put together some stuff to, we're hoping it gets funded as these dollars are released.
Mr. Wade, do you know Mr. Ike, who's our liaison from the county?
Who? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Council, does that answer
No,
your question?
yeah, so that does answer my question, and I don't know if I previously stated it, but certainly I didn't have a problem with the resolution conceptually. It was just that I didn't have the actual plan to read.
Okay.
But it sounded great.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you.
Then I want to go to Resolution 116. Just a question, I guess, for clarity's sake. I'm trying to figure out why this resolution was not bifurcated, because it looks like we're entering into a cooperative purchasing program, but we're also purchasing a pumper
Director
in the
Douglas.
same resolution
Director Douglas.
through the bond. Is that correct?
Kenneth Douglas,
Do you
Director.
have the resolution before you, sir?
No, I don't have the
116.
resolution. I don't have the actual
Councilman Foley,
resolution.
Can you share it for me? Thank you. And do you need Councilman Goldberg to repeat her question?
Yes, please. Can you
Oh,
read?
sure. Okay, so the question is, why wasn't this bifurcated? And I'm not sure if Director Douglas can answer the part about we're entering into the cooperative purchasing program. Maybe he can. And then at the same time, we're purchasing the heavy-duty cinder pumper in the same resolution.
From my knowledge, the pumper is being purchased from the bond ordinance. It's one of two vehicles that we're getting. That's as much information as I have.
Director Matt, can you, in terms of should have been,
I'm Adrian Matt, Director of Finance. Although I didn't play a role in this particular resolution, what I would say or suggest is that if we are not a member of this particular cooperative, that there should be a resolution to establish membership. And I do agree with Councilor Butler that it would be better handled by having a separate resolution to make the purchase. It doesn't mean that you can't do it all in one resolution.
right.
Right.
Do we know if we're part of this cooperative? Does anybody know if we're part of this cooperative? Yes or no? Okay, so,
It's fine the way it is. It just, for clarity's sake, it should be separate.
no, I hear you, but even the
Right.
first part, is just we know if we're already a part of it. Director Douglas, does this need to move forward tonight?
It was put in the resolution to move forward, but what kind of clarity do you need me to go back and do?
Are we part of cooperative, and should it be done in separate resolution, or two, instead of one resolution?
Instead of one resolution?
And you can find out and come back and answer during the general meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
And if you, and Director Abin, Mr. Scarry could talk about it, and then come back and let us know, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll come back to that, Councilman Gonfalon.
Okay.
All right, any
then-
other questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
just as,
Council, did you want it separated? You said it was fine the way it is, right?
I'm fine with it the way it is, but
Councilwoman, they're gonna go and talk, and they're gonna come back and let us know in the next meeting. So it's not to say we're not gonna move forward, just let them have a discussion and come back with us. We'll just let them find out, because he's not even that sure, so if we're part of the cooperative, and, so, next one, Councilwoman Butler.
Okay, so the next one I have is, and this probably is a question for finance. I noticed that some of the resolutions come through. I'm looking at 117, 2015. And that comes through, first of all, it comes through for retention of a tax appeal council, tax appraisal council. There is also another one in here. I might not be able to locate it that quickly. There is another one in here. One has an hourly rate and the other one has a lump sum rate.
Not to exceed?
Right. So the 117 has a lump sum rate of $15,000, and I think the other one has a $150 hourly rate on an as-needed basis.
Is that 118? Or 110?
122 is what it is.
122.
And I just want to understand the rationale behind that.
The 110 per hour, you mean, Council?
Yeah, the hourly versus the lump sum. Is there a rationale?
Oh, just so you can, well,
Yeah,
lump
just-
sum obviously to monitor and put a cap on how much would be expended
Right.
in any particular case.
Speaking of Mike.
Oh, can you speak in the
Just to-
microphone?
Just to monitor, the cap is the lump sum, so they can't exceed it.
Right,
So
and
you
I'm
have to
more
review it.
comfortable with that one. I want to know
Review
about
that.
the hourly.
The hourly ones are largely because they're generally take place in they're pretty much settlement discussions for the most part. So you can have a number of different cases on at the same time, and you can resolve them within, say within an hour or so. So it's more advantageous to give them just an hourly rate. That doesn't end up in a trial like the other resolution.
Isn't that also a negotiated rate? That's also the rate.
And that is our negotiated rate as well.
Okay, and then I guess, well, couldn't it have an hourly rate and a lump sum cap rate?
Well, you see, well, I would say this, within the course of an hour, you may cover more than one or two cases. So it's,
Right. Number of cases is not the concern, it's the money.
well, okay, I appreciate that, but it doesn't become an exorbitant number because of the fact that it doesn't become an exorbitant number only because you're able to process a number of cases within an hour. So it's not a,
Attorney Smith, hit your mic. Attorney Smith, hit your mic. Is it on?
it
Tap
never
it.
feels like it is.
Yeah, tap it. Just tap it.
Okay.
So
So,
you just have to amplify your voice.
Explains why we need to.
well, one ends up in state tax court, which is litigation, and it can be that's a much more prolonged process. So we would have certain counsel doing that, and then we are also attempting to bring some of these cases inside as well. So that's for these the tax appeals when people decide on their own pro se, they come in for their tax appeal. We have someone present to help negotiate those particular cases. So they're not as labor intensive as a trial, obviously. So we set a rate and a cap on what the trials would cost us. But for these settlement type matters that take place in the form of tax appeals, we've just use our basic rate, and then the whole idea is to move as many of them as you can on that particular list for that particular day.
You wanna?
Yeah, okay. My other question is, all of these attorneys and law firms that we're authorizing retention of this evening that are on the agenda, have they all adhered to the pay-to-play ordinance?
You speaking of 118, all of them?
Oh, yeah, which one are you referring to?
I'm looking at 118, but there's a few more.
118? Okay.
Is a pay to play attached?
Did they all adhere
All
to
the
that?
ones that made the list did submit, that we have on our list, submitted, and let me just make one final look, but they all submitted pay to play as part of the package. That is correct. 118 have submitted, they submitted the entire package.
And all the others as well?
And, well, that's a requirement, but let me just take a look. Yeah, on 122, likewise, they submitted their pay to play, as well as, when 17
Hendricks appraisal.
and I think that's it, correct? Everyone whose name is listed in the resolutions submitted a pay to play.
Thank you. That's the council president.
Council members, any other question about a resolution and or ordinance? If not, we're going to move the agenda. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Gaunt Butler.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are moving forward. Ready? I'm sorry, council members, let's just take a 3-minute, we're gonna start in 3 minutes.
This is the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in Council Chambers, City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, Tuesday, April 21st, 2015, immediately following the conference meeting. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I
We'll do a roll call. Councilman Coley?
Present.
Councilman Corbett?
Excuse me, here.
Councilwoman Easton?
Here.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
Present.
Councilman Johnson?
Here.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Here.
Council President Williams?
present.
Also present, Ms. Smith, Deputy Municipal Clerk. Mr. Smith from the City Attorney's Office. Mr. Matt from Director of Finance. Ms. Lascara from Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Harris, Legislative Research Officer. Mr. Mays, Administrative Representative. Margaret Demir from the Clerk's Office. Director Douglas from Fire Department. That's it.
That's it, just call them directors.
The requirement of NJSA 10:4-9, that set the Sunshine Law has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger and published in the record transcript on July 17, 2014, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. I would like the approval for the following minutes. Council members Johnson and Williams cannot vote because they were not present. That would be for March 17, 2015, the executive closed session.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
On the motion.
On the motion,
I didn't get any meeting minutes.
you didn't get any minutes? I believe you probably didn't get them because they were in the last package previous. Is that why?
Yeah, it was postponed from April 7th.
And so they were in the previous package?
Yes.
And they were not?
Okay. And they weren't provided again. Okay.
Are there any other on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Corbett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bob Butler,
Yes, from what I can remember.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Council,
Can't.
oh, I'm sorry,
Some,
Can't you
right, I'm sorry.
Take
No.
Summers Johnson,
Yes.
motion passes. Reports, Clerk's Office, month of March 2015, $334.41. Community Service, month of March 2015, $24,193. Under Constable Reports, we had Darnell Brody, month of March 2015, no activity. And Richard Nosey, month of March 2015, no activity.
Reports, Police Department, do we have any reports?
Council
do
President,
all the
We still don't do the reports.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Police Department?
Council President, in our last meeting, I asked Director Sims to do a report today. I spoke to him earlier today, and it's no problem because it wasn't included in the agenda anyway. So he will be back in our next council meeting, prepared and ready to give us an overview of what we can expect this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Just please put it on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Thank
You
you.
want it for the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Fire Department?
yeah, Fire Director Douglas has a brief overview.
Thank you.
Kenneth Douglas, Fire Director. Just to inform the council and the citizens of Orange Township, since the last smoke detector campaign with the Red Cross relievers in the beginning of March, at that time we had actually gave out and installed 160 smoke detectors. Since that was a success, and since that overwhelming, it was a need for other residents that actually called into the hotline that needed smoke detectors from all 4 wards. Since that time, I had to develop a task force which consists of firefighters in their uniforms in a city vehicle going to all of the wards of those individuals that called. About 75 residents have called for smoke detectors after the first campaign with the Red Cross. Since that campaign, we actually installed about 64 smoke detectors through the task force, and we actually have another campaign coming this Saturday, the 25th, where we'll actually be canvassing the North Ward and servicing those residents. This task force is not just temporarily, it's going to run year round. As long as residents need smoke detectors, I'll have the task force go out on their day off and with the city vehicle, of course, in uniform, so it doesn't, they don't think somebody's trying to rob their house or disguised as something that they're not. Make sure the individuals, they're in the city vehicle with their uniforms and their badges showing.
Can you repeat that slower and louder regarding, so people will know?
About
What you said, when people come, they'll have these city uniforms?
yes, on the task force, the firefighters will have their fire department uniform on with their badges on their outermost garment. If it's cold, of course, it's going to happen on their jacket. If it's a shirt, it'll be on their shirt. And also, they will have to show their IDs, and they will be in a city vehicle marked Orange Fire Department.
Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, sir. Councilman Corbett?
what time are you going to be doing this campaign on Saturday?
It begins at 10 a.m. on Central Avenue Station at the firehouse. That's where we're in muster at.
Okay, you don't have a completion time because you have no idea what you're going to run into.
No, since we'll be canvassing this time, last time we did the East Ward, now we're doing the North Ward.
Right.
So whenever, I guess, we finish and, either they run out of smoke detectors, that's when we'll be complete.
Recently, over the news, we have been hearing a lot about folks, unfortunately, being overcome by carbon monoxide.
Yes.
Any plans to install those?
Yes, actually, just to go back in time, the Church of the Oranges actually donated over 100 smoke detectors to the Orange Fire Department, along with some posters and memorabilia that they gave us also. Some of those smoke detectors are carbon monoxide, and in recent events, during my confirmation as being fire director, friends of mine gave me a celebration, which actually, knowing the fact that I have a passion just for fire prevention efforts in the city of Orange. They donated actually smoke detectors to my event. Actually, I attained about 70 of them, 70 extra on top of the ones that the Church of the Oranges gave me. So I have about 200 in stock right now, and some of those smoke detectors range from the ones that's visual to actually light up on the outside of the doorway when they beep, and some are smoke, carbon monoxide, and some are just regular smoke detectors.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Did that conclude your report, sir?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions before Director Douglas sits back down? Thank you, Director Douglas.
Thank you.
Public Works Committee? Director? None? None. Mrs. Council, Josh?
Josh coming up.
Public Works Committee had
Your name?
Josh Sokolsky, Public Works Committee. We met last week and had a split meeting due to conflicting issues, but we've all shared our minutes from both of those. We would like to, our next meeting will be the May the 14th, if I remember correctly. That's the Thursday between the two council meetings. I want to make sure that that's out there on the record. And we'd like to invite the council members at large to attend if they wish. One of the issues that has been strong in our recent discussions and many of the discussions has been upkeep, abandoned properties, etc. There are ordinances on the books that we have found that we think the city could be using better to help with those issues and keeping our neighborhoods looking good and involved, keeping the upkeep of them involved. And the other thing that we have set out to do is do some documentation projects. We're going to have a coordinating meeting hopefully this weekend and be able to take some pictures and maybe keep a running tab on the areas that we do over a period of time to share with the council, so that they can see the areas that we are noticing as a committee where over time you can see the general lack of effort or improvement. I mean, our greatest hope is improvement. One of the things I wanted to personally mention to Director Mays, I haven't seen him in a while, but I have noticed one of the issues that came up in our March meeting was potholes, and I appreciate all the efforts. I know it's bad, and I know there's still road pavings that need to happen, but patching has happened, and it's better throughout much of the city. And I've been told by many residents in the South Ward that while it is better, we also do need to keep up on it, and hopefully what's the schedule for actual road repavings as opposed to just patchings. And that's an issue as well that I know is on some people's agenda.
Thank you. Did you have a response, Director? Paving?
Yeah, you'll see on the next council agenda for a couple of resolutions for various roads that are going to be repaved as per the bond ordinance that was passed. It'll be Jackson Street, Burnside Place, Fairview Avenue, and Snyder Street. It'll be the first four, and they'll be followed by a couple other streets after that. And then sometime in the midsummer, we should receive our annual allotment of DOT funds, and that'll encompass a couple of different roads to be repaid probably in the beginning of the fall. So you say between now and the fall, anywhere between 8 and 10 roads, hopefully.
And Councilman Coley?
Council President, does that also include new curbs and sidewalks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Director Mays, what about Oakwood Avenue under the
Under the train,
yeah,
Oakland, I know we did patch that up. I don't know how great it is, but I know we did patch it up.
Okay.
I'll take another look at it.
Councilwoman Eason?
Through you to Mr. Mays, you did Berryman already, right?
No, Berryman is one of the ones that'll probably be done in the fall, but the announcement will be made sometime in midsummer.
Okay, Councilwoman?
Council
We'll talk
President.
Okay. Councilman Johnson?
To Director Mays, there still needs potholes filled up on South Jefferson, around the area of Glebe and Gary Street. I travel over there to the grocery store quite often, and I've been getting calls from folks in the 5th District of the West Ward that if you can take a look at that for me.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving to Housing Authority.
No report, Council President.
ABC.
Oh, nothing.
Planning. Councilman? Nothing. Personnel, there is no report at this time. Finance Committee, as you know, we've been in budget hearings, and we've completed all of the departments with one department outstanding. That would be the library, and the announcement of the library rescheduled date will be in the clerk's office by tomorrow. The public hearing for the budget is Ms. Smith. I believe it's the first meeting in June. First meeting in June, right?
No, it's the second meeting in May.
The second meeting in May. Second meeting in May. And that
What date
date
is
would
that?
be the 18th, May 18th, correct? Is it May 18th? I don't have it.
19.
May 19th. And for community service, we normally don't give a report. However, the City of Orange will have a community service day on May 2nd, correct?
Yes.
And it starts at the flyers. You have a flyer in front of you,
I think it's
Councilwoman?
10 to 2.
It's 10 a.m.
I think it's 10 to 2.
to 2 p.m. behind City Hall. And at the latter part of the meeting, I will come back and talk about it because a lot of services will be offered, and I think citizens, our county clerk, Mr. Durkin, will be here in his department doing their outreach services. So if you need a passport, if you want to become a notary, all those services will be available to sign up that day. I think the person that normally comes out, if you need personal paper shredded, they will be here, and I'll read the rest off later. And I believe that's it. Oprah?
It's the Oprah request for the month of March 2015. We had 56 Oprah received, 204 items completed, and 2 outstanding.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Communications and petitions. Communications we've received in the clerk's office from, apparently there were none. Citizens' comments on general issues. Pursuant to Section 4-10 of the Code of the City of Orange Township, each person addressing the council shall step up to the microphone, shall give his or her name in an audible tone for the record, and unless further time is granted by the presiding officer, shall limit his or her address to 10 minutes. The public is expected to conduct themselves in the proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted. The chair will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you, Director Mays. William R. Lewis.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir.
My name is William R. Lewis, 688 Mosswood Avenue, and I have quite a few things to say. This agenda tonight is a monster, and but it does have one central issue, overarching theme. But I'll just go ahead and start out beginning, giving another challenge to the council. Several years ago, my wife founded the New Jersey Foundation for Sickle Cell Anemia, and I didn't believe in being involved in programs with your wife, so you don't have to argue. But I was a member, and so I had some involvement there. And then served on the board of the Greater Newark Chamber of Commerce. and that came about through my JC activity. Some things we worked out with the chamber and got involved. And when I moved to Orange, I joined the Orange Chamber of Commerce. Continuing on, because of my involvement, I was asked to serve on the board of the Essex County Association for Retarded Children, so I have a little bit of knowledge in that area. And I was also a organization representative from Hillside Valley Church for the Eagle Troop that they had at the church, and later worked with the three Scout Councils to bring about the merger of the Scout Councils. So I have a little bit of knowledge about scouting. As a matter of fact, they came back and tapped me to help get a Scoutmaster for the troop at Hayward Avenue School, because we have all these people in Orange who really want to do good, and they couldn't find a scout leader. So it's scout leaders from Linden. But one of the things I say is, you need, in looking at this agenda, as I said, you need as much help as you can get going through this agenda in the business of the city. I told you that when you started down this road. And to talk about curtailing the amount of time the public has to speak just seems ludicrous to me. And I think you need all the help you can get. And I understand where you're coming from, but you don't learn nothing if you don't hear anything and your ears aren't open. And there are problems out there, and you talk about legal fees and things of that nature. And a lot of this comes about because the council doesn't know how to answer questions from the public. You need management experience, and that isn't something that you just pick up in a book or something. It's acquired knowledge. I've been a manager for over 57 years. And if you tell me that you know everything, I know you're not well. But let me move on here. Ordinance 15. There's some big problems there. The things are not the way that you should go in, as relates to parliamentary procedure and prolonging meetings unnecessarily. All these reports, this is a business meeting of the city. It's not a committee, not a place to hear committee reports. It takes place outside. Your questions, very simply, you can shortcut a lot of your time because you talk to the department heads or the BA prior to the meeting when you get the cotton picking agenda last week, and you call them up and say, hey, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this, and I want you to have some answers ready for me. And then stuff just flows, you know. But you know, people seem to be waiting to get here to ask a question. And that's why you were always crying because the mayor wouldn't let his directors attend, because you need them here to answer questions. No, you don't. They're in the hallway. And you handle that through the week. That's why God made phones. Let's see. Ordinance 23, historic preservation. There's a glitch in there. Okay. Says there's no fiscal impact, yet within that document itself, it says you're going to have a staff that needs to be budgeted for. Now, something, maybe I was absent in English class that day, but that, seems like that's a fiscal impact there. And you should be rejecting that. The Ordinance 22, there's 2015, sorry. Nope, I did that. Resolution 82 is 2015, hiring Robert Tarver. And I said...
That's not a...
Pardon?
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And as I said before, you owe the public a report as to what goes on in these closed sessions. Not the details, the legal details or anything like that, but in this particular case, I already acknowledged that you had lost the case to the mayor. And you want to hire Tarver to file an appeal. But guess what the court ruling was? It's the same ruling I told you before you went down that avenue with that dumb committee. You can't have a committee that says, we're an umbrella and we get involved in everything. Can't do that. And that's why they send you to school. You're supposed to synthesize that and put it together. And then Mr. Tarver's a nice guy. I know some of his relatives. They're from Newark. That's where I was born. Ordinance 23, that's 2015. You want to change the ordinance, the agenda, and I told you before, the agenda that the state uses for a model is the orange agenda. Because I co-sponsored the resolution that was voted on in the League of Municipalities. And so, you know, why would you want to get rid of that? I mean, you say you have nothing to brag about. Well, there's something that orange is first. It's enough to convince the state that they should go along with it, and they did. Went through no problems at all. But you're looking in the wrong direction. You blame the public for lengthening the meetings, and it's not the public's fault. I was president of Newark JCs. My board of directors was 25 people, all of them experts in parliamentary procedure. I know how to run meetings. You're not running a business like meeting, and you're wasting time. You're busy and you say, oh boy, we got all this stuff going on. Some of that stuff is irrelevant. In the meantime, you have a company that's on the agenda that you're hiring to tape the meetings because the mayor isn't doing that. It would seem to me that you would spend better time trying to find out how you can get the mayor to do what he's supposed to do instead of spending twice the taxpayers' money to get a service that was already there. There are plenty of other things. You know, I said when I came here, I retired from AT&T as an executive, and I had a lot of experience, JCs included. And I was bewildered by what was going on in government. So I took the Rutgers courses, and bing, the lights went on. And all of a sudden, things started happening because I knew how to make the wheels work. We have, I know the president said that Rutgers isn't giving a course anymore because they weren't getting that many requests. And I said, because I know a few people. So they're willing to work with you. Just call up and get some, find out how many people they want in the class and get those people together and run those classes. And you get a lot out of it. Resolution 123. Oh, I mentioned that. That's charging us double for this video service, which wasn't even announced. The public doesn't even know about it. And if you don't have a computer, you can't get it. You flunk the first rule of communications for a manager. If you can't communicate, you are a lousy leader. And some people have an attitude that says, well, we got it. Let them find a way how to get the answer. And that's bad. When you get ready to communicate, you have to say, here are the different universes that we have, and here's the means by which I'm going to contact these universes. And then you do your job, and people don't bother you anymore. They say, hey, you're doing a good job. No, we had, wrapping up now, mention some names. Does anyone, how many know?
You got 30 seconds.
Okay. Bob Melvin. Anyone know Bob Melvin? No. Okay, well, anyway, Bob Melvin was a high school All-American from Orange High. 4-year academic scholarship at Fordham University. Retired AT&T exec. Nobody knows anything about him. Putting that, Ed Myers, who died 3 months ago, was a policeman. No recognition. And then Gwen Cottingham died. And I heard some discussion about it, and then it just petered out. And the discussion, I don't know why it was going in the direction it was, because Miss Cottingham lives in the South Ward. Her son, Bobby, was a director for Congressman Payne's Newark office. and was the 6th ranked fencer in the world. And remember the 1980 Olympics team. But I guess it doesn't make any difference. You got to do something else to get it recognized. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Jeffrey Feld.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Feld, an attorney and a business person whose local business address is 268 Main Street, Orange, New Jersey. As my custom, I've posted various heads-up questions and comments on the city's www.nj.com public forum. Prior to break, I gave you a handout. My first thing is I want to give my condolences on behalf of my family and my business to Mrs. Stewart on the loss of her husband. And I think all of us will be joining in our condolences. Of course, she's back tonight after a little sojourn. My handout, you need to look at, because a lot of things have happened in the last 2 weeks. When we were here on the 7th, and we came back on last Monday, and what happened on last Monday is not over yet. I don't know whether that's going to be litigated out in the United States Bankruptcy Court or in the Superior Court as to what happened. Unfortunately, we did not have the benefit of the legislative research officer last Monday, and I think it might behoove the council to ask him for his legal opinion as to the validity of the notice that occurred and the validity of the resolution that you approved, because there was no underlying agreement on there, and as to what statute really controls this. Because we never got an answer last Monday as to whether you can approve the acquisition of the Y by resolution or by ordinance. The Warren administration ducked the issue. Yesterday I attended a seminar on affordable housing. It's very important that everyone in the city understands that a major landmark opinion came down on March 10th by our state Supreme Court, where it took basically authority away from a state agency and put it back into the courts. And basically, I believe we did get approval of third round approvals, but under the court opinion, the city needs to go back to a court and ask for its blessing. Let's not lose sight of that our affordable housing plan needs to get court approval. And I don't know if the Warren administration has been telling that to the council, but that's an issue that you need to understand, because there was a seminar yesterday where people came throughout the state trying to figure out what that opinion does and what we had to do. Unfortunately, I had to report back that in the last 10 days, after 32 years of business, my family, we've been told that we've been breaking the law, that the Warren administration is going to stand up and not pay our invoices. Unfortunately, these invoices come from the police department. And this puts me in an awkward position, because now I have the finance department telling me that police officers who came into my business to buy keys, really nominal stuff that could have been paid out of petty cash, had no authority to do that. So now I had to make a decision whether I had to file municipal court complaints against various officers for fraudulently inducing my people to give them goods and services. All because the finance department, after paying various invoices for 2 years, 3 years, decided that all of a sudden various invoices that we've been asking for paid, and some of these invoices go back to last year. And that's something this council needs to start investigating, whether I am my family's being intimidated because we're standing up, or is there's now a ground things that they're looking at all vendors to see if they're all getting equal treatment, or am I being picked out? Because if I am being picked out, you don't want to fight with me. You have a redeveloper there I have litigation with. I don't really want to talk about that, but we've been put in a cage, and only one person is going to come out alive. That's what the court's done. RPM, you sued Mr. Feld for speaking in a city council meeting. You don't think you violated his freedom of speech rights?
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. Feld, continue.
That's a cage match. There's going to be a cage match, and that's like in wrestling. It was like WW, you could buy tickets. As to tonight's agenda, the ordinance about 14-2014, about the directors. It talks about acting directors. I have a question. Do we have an acting business director? Do we have an acting tax collector? Under the ordinance that you're going to be looking at, isn't the mayor supposed to report about that? I don't know. I don't think we have an acting business director, do we? I haven't been notified about one. Do we have an acting tax collector? Do we need to have one? Do we need to go through that process before you look at that? As to the agenda, the bill list, the format changed. When you compare the format to the last meeting, you have all these new salary ranges interposed. Before there used to be a separate page for salary and wages. Now it's interposed throughout the document. Why? My real concern, and this is a concern that's been going on for years, is when we retain outside counsel. There's a special, like, we call it the shelf registration, where it only says that they're limited to $100 an hour as the thing, but there's no cap. And one of the problems we've been having in a lot of litigation is someone in the law department retains a law firm. At the end of the case, they come back and say, we want to be paid. And then we get bills for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. There's never a cap. We should be doing what other municipalities do, that when someone's going to be retained, I mean, this is a general like shelf registration, but when someone's going to be retained for a specific case, they come to the council. They say, we want to retain this law firm. This law firm will defend us in this case. Their initial cap is like $10,000 or $15,000. If they start exceeding those amounts, they're going to come back for additional approvals. We need a way to monitor a cap. 2, it's not sometimes when they're just defending the city. Many times they're defending city employees or elected officials. And there's case law now talking about indemnification. Sometimes taxpayers should not be picking up the bill for the defense of some city employees and elected officials because their activities are outside their duties. What I would maybe suggest is we table that resolution tonight to give everyone a chance to read an opinion that came out today by the appellate divisions. Levine versus City of Atlantic City. It talks about an attorney firm who got a judgment, Quantum Merowit, for about in excess of $600,000. The appellate division reversed it. We're talking about the process. I think we need to take a time out today. First of all, like tonight, there's another resolution talking about tax appeal attorneys. There are 4 different firms. Who selects which law firm is going to be the tax appeal counsel? Is it a tax assessor or is it someone in the law department? Because if you look at the resolution, it's the deputy city attorney who made the decision. I still don't know the procedure when a case comes in. Who within the law department makes the decision what law firm will get to it? And how do we monitor how much money we're paying that law firm throughout the year? When do we know that we exceeded in all the cumulative cases more than $17,000? And this is one of the problems we have is like the after the fact, you know, oh my God, like the Willis Edwards case. We paid in excess of $100,000.
Mr. Fell, can you pause? It's 8:31. You had 2 minutes to go. Attorney Smith?
It says Mr. Fell is involved in cases involving the city.
This doesn't affect my time.
Mr. Fell, I asked you. I'm sorry, Attorney Smith. Can you please stop and allow the attorney to stop? I said you still had 2 minutes remaining. Continue,
after all, who is Mr. Fell? Is he a citizen of Orange? These are citizen comments. Is he the attorney in-house counsel for Epstein Hardware? If so, he should state that on the record. If he believes this is something that should be part of the portion of matters for discussion, where he signs in as the attorney for Epstein Hardware and addresses us, that's fine.
This is not a proper.
This
is not a proper time because you have to understand.
Mr. Fell.
Mr. Fell. No, you need to know what's pending before the court on Friday.
Mr. Fell.
What we do.
Attorney Smith, I'm sorry. Mr. Fell. Can you please? I'm going to ask you to sit down next time. If you allow Mr. Smith, Mr. Fell, can you please listen to me?
You know,
Mr. Fell, can you please listen to me?
You're going to listen to me and you're going to read.
Officer, can you have Mr. Fell sit down, please?
I have 2 minutes to speak. I have not said anything demeaning. You interrupted me when I spoke. You know, I want to make a point here.
No, you cannot make Mr.
Fell. You have to understand.
Mr. Fell.
You have to understand.
Mr. Fell, can you please stop?
I will please. I will say please sit down. I will sit down because you asked me to say please. Not the city council president that you say please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Attorney Smith. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He was attempting to discuss litigation that he may well be in part of. I'm only asking.
You cannot, audience members, you cannot yell from the audience. The attorney, because everybody's talking, so please Take a breath, calm down. Attorney Smith, can you
Is-
start all over?
If Mr. Feld, the lawyer for Epstein Hardware, and he's addressing this body on behalf of Epstein Hardware, Mr. Feld has litigation of his own with the city on a number of different issues. So if he wants to discuss litigation, this is not the forum for it.
Okay, you
And
finished?
otherwise, we would have to go into executive session to discuss litigation.
Thank you very much.
But where no one is preventing or precluding him from making his citizen comments, if he is in fact a citizen. If he's here on behalf of Epstein Hardware, please declare it.
Mr. Feld, you cannot do that, please.
I would
Mr.
just-
Feld, you cannot do that.
But you better read the opinion because there's a remand. There's a remand.
We did that in their
Councilwoman Summer Johnson.
I'm serious. We would be arrested. I'm serious. That's not fair.
Members of the audience, I apologize, and please note that it is not the intent of the council to stop you from talking. The intent is that we provide and move forward in an orderly fashion, and we all cannot talk at once. So if I ask you to please stop talking, I clearly stated to Mr. Feld that I was
He had 2
interrupting
minutes.
him at 8:31, and he still had 2 minutes on the record. I apologize for that interruption, and we're going to move forward with Orlando Soto. Councilman Johnson, can you just remind them that you can hear that, if they can go into the conference room, please? Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you, Councilman.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Orlando Soto. I reside at 162 P Meadow Parkway, Whippany, New Jersey. I'm here today to ask the council for assistance. There was a lawsuit settlement, and I need assistance with ratifying that settlement. And the reason why I need it as soon as possible is because I'm due to retire in January of 2016, and I'm concerned that if the delays continue.
I just want to pause
Yes,
for a second. I
sure.
don't want you to go too far. Attorney Smith?
I believe, this is a matter that we have to go in executive session in order for us to discuss it among
Yeah.
council members. But I believe Mr. Soto and I did have some conversation regarding his matter as well as his counsel. So I think he understands what efforts we're attempting to make to bring closure to his case.
And I'm sorry, one second.
Sure.
Lieutenant Soto, Attorney Smith, is this one of the matters that will be a part of that?
Yes.
Okay. Lieutenant Soto, we have to schedule executive session with all matters pending that are litigation, and we are looking to do that shortly. So if you can just be general, I just don't want to get into specific because this council has not been made aware of any settlements that have gone on. Okay, sir?
Okay. Well, regarding assisting with the resolution, within that resolution, if it could include a time of limitations of payout and raise.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, okay.
Just be general if you,
Okay.
because it hasn't come before us
All
yet,
right,
so-
all right. I was in 2012. I was discriminated against. There was not an opportunity to become promoted to police captain, which would have been the city of Orange's first police captain as a Latino. I didn't receive that opportunity. There was violations that had occurred. Grievances were put forward to try to resolve it in a diplomatic manner regarding the personnel policy. Went to the BA's office, did not get a response. Reluctantly, I filed suit. There was no response in reference to mediation. It was a negative on the mediation. Through the last 3 years, there's been delays of depositions and trials being pushed back. Finally, we had a date in September where we were going to go to trial, and the city did make an offer of settlement. I accepted. I thought it was over and it was resolved. Several months later, I'm still waiting to get that settlement ratified. And also, there was another promise of it being put on the agenda for April 7th. Was not done. So at this particular point, I'm frustrated. To me, it's a continued, I'm not sure the reason why there's so much delay. Because from the beginning, I've always wanted to resolve it diplomatically, even though that opportunity to get promoted to police captain was lost. Serving the community for 24 years, all I'm asking is for the council to help us resolve this expeditiously with a commitment of a time when it will be resolved so I can retire and move on to the next section of my life.
It's
No, I'm sorry.
Like I can't hear. I cannot hear.
That's why I'm looking.
I'm not gonna be happy. I cannot hear.
Councilwoman,
They're right in my ear.
Can we?
It's like
Councilwoman, please push it down, Councilwoman, when you pull to push it and pull at the same time. Thank you. I apologize, Lieutenant Soto. Continue.
Okay.
So you want the resolution, and you help asking us to
Yeah.
move swiftly on the resolution of your matter. Okay.
And in closing, there has been a request to the Superior Court to bring it back to trial, which has been awarded to us, and we're waiting for the date. Once that happens, we will be going to trial, and that's not something I want, because I don't want to bring negativity to the state of Orange, where I resided most of my life, where I've worked and served. That's the last thing I want to do, but if I cannot get it resolved, I have no choice but to go to trial. And that would be a negative light for everyone, I believe.
Are you seeking to go back to court because of
Yes,
the delay? Okay.
because it's continued delays, and I would like to retire when I'm scheduled to retire.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Not, Councilwoman, because there's still citizens' questions, but you just made a motion to me. You want to say something?
No, I just said we're working on it.
Oh,
And I talked to Lieutenant Soto.
Okay.
He knows we're
we're
working
gonna-
on
yeah,
it, so we're
okay.
gonna get it resolved without you having to go to court. Just give
Okay.
it, but you gotta be a little patient right now, because it's been
3 years,
It's
yes.
Councilwoman,
it's been so long since you brought it
Council-
to our attention, so just give us a little time.
Yes, ma'am.
Lieutenant Soto, we'll let you know as soon as we did discuss scheduling a meeting with the attorney's office, so that should be coming up really soon. And we apologize for the
Okay.
delay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Caitlin Gordon.
Good evening, Katalin Gordon, 211 Park Place. I would like to the Public Works Committee has been presented, but as a private person knowing something about it, I would like to add a few points. So I would like to review, just say that much, that after a number of meetings, we came to, some kind of focus what we want after going back and forth, what we want to accomplish, where we think the most important points are. So and because of that, we encouraged each other and ourselves to get in touch with our particular ward council people, because we know them more intimately than the at-large council people. And so, as you heard, on the other hand, we would like to invite the at-large council members, if you please can come, and because this short introductions and are not enough to get you understand where we are going. So you are invited, and maybe please speak with Councilwoman Eason, so there is not going to be a problem with the quorum. It has some kind of an urgency, so the sooner you do it, the better. I would like because there have been some disagreements what does and what does not the vacant properties resolution which is Article 21 in the city code, say and does not say. So if I may, through you, please, I have it here, have the Legislative Research Officer review this piece of code, city code, and tell me and tell us the violations.
Ms. Gordon, Ms. Gordon, you can hand it to him, but you have to go back to the agenda. Okay, you
here
can.
it is, the violations and penalties.
You have to go back to the mic, Ms. Gordon.
Which part of the resolution that refers to, and which one does not refer to. Next, I would like to reflect on the vote of regarding the YWCA lease. I found it very disappointing the way if you remember, I said that I am interested in it personally, but I am affected in a positive way, and I am affected by it a negative way financially. So I am not for and not against it. But I find that the way this council made the decision with complete lack of financial backing of how it will go, of what we can do and what cannot do, was very disheartening for me. And I have to say, except for the 2 council members who voted no, it should have been put off until you get every information that you need for such a decision. I understand that this was just a resolution and it was not for the purchase, but just the option to purchase. But yet, in the way it was introduced, it was clear, and it is always clear. It is not the first time this happens. This is a Trojan horse. Once you start leasing a property like this, you move everything over. You quit leasing the other ones that you have, and a year later, suddenly, the question comes: Can we go back? Should we go back? Everything is arranged around this property already. Everything moved over, and it is a completely different ball game than deciding here and now. And of course, we heard from Ms. Arthur that the Board of Ed had been appraised of this for months and months. And it was not such an urgent and sudden introduction as it sounded. That would have to be decided on the spot the first time. Okay, I want to reflect on Ordinance 18, which, let me see, which allows the council to have inquiries. And I don't think that it is not new part of the resolution, is the old part. It just gave an opportunity for me to read up on what this resolution used to be and is. So it turns out that the council could and maybe should do inquiries where the different officers are, how they are performing. This, I don't see it happening. And most importantly, the removal of any municipal officer with a notice of opportunity to be heard. We heard it a lot of times. What should we do? We have no, you people don't have any right and power to remove officers that are not performing according to expectation. Here it is, you do. 19. No, I don't want to talk about 19. what I don't touch here, when the hearing comes up, I will reflect. I am Ordinance 23, that a similar ordinance was withdrawn at the last meeting. Now it is in a somewhat new format. I am happy that it is somewhat less restrictive than the previous one was, but it is still too restrictive because here obviously there are only a handful of speakers to come up, and therefore, and in general, the public is not much interested in letting you know, and so therefore, those few people who do have an interest and review the issues have much more to cover. And I would appreciate if you let Mr. Harris tell the answer to my question.
Okay, he will after everybody
Okay.
finish. He will.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Gordon. Josh, are you coming back up now? Okay.
Joshua Sokolsky, 393 Alcott Street. Just to reiterate Ms. Gordon's comments, we would love for the at-large to work out to come with us and meet with the Public Works Committee and see what we're doing, what we're trying to do. We think it's vital to have them have an understanding, as well as our ward committee members, and also get some feedback and give feedback. Agenda items, concentrating primarily on the bill list at the moment. There were a couple of things that I just wanted to bring to the council's attention that I wanted to make sure that you've gotten your eye on. Number one, July 2014 phone bill. We're in April 2015, and yet there's a $10,000 phone bill that still hasn't been paid from July of last year. Page number 3. Two questions. Obviously, why, if it was in dispute, that's great, and but the other question obviously is why so long, and that seems exorbitant, though I certainly don't know what the city's phone situation is, but that's a question of, if we're averaging 10,000 a month, is that someplace that we have too much telecom, too little? How are those dollars being spent? I see a couple of the other page I had a question on was, pardon me, get to my notes. There's $2,100 for a code enforcement officer from Milburn. I guess that's page, 12. And I'm wondering, oh, sorry. Thank you. Yep. Is that, it's in the mic. 2,100 for the code official for Milburn. Is that because we're short at one, we need to do a hiring, or shared services? Why are we contracting with a neighboring town? We have code officials on board. And the other, and the gigantic one that I was curious about, or two large ones, under DPW heavy equipment.
Where you at?
On page 14 are 2 16-passenger buses. If those are DPW, why does Public Works need minibuses? If that's for community affairs, it should be charged to their budget line, and something should have been, I don't want to see conflation of equipment going to the wrong department just to get it on the books. That's if Public Works if it's Public Works equipment, should be on Public Works budget. It's community affairs, it's community affairs.
So are we talking about the 118,000?
Correct.
And that's the only one?
Nope. And the other next page 15, 207,000 tax lien for 370 Central Avenue.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it? Okay, we'll come back to Stewart. Welcome back, Ms. Stewart.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
First, would like to thank everybody for their kind words of condolences to me during my loss. It's been a rough journey, still is a rough journey, but I'm back. I would like to just start off, there's a few things that I need to sort of just refresh on. The water situation, the quality of water, I would like to, if at all possible, if we can have some report on it. I know we get magazines that tell you the different pollutants and everything in the water, but if we can have one, a report at the council, since we do have some video. The other point I want to make is, and I'm going to say to the council representative for Walter G. There was no report. And I know you have your reasons for not having a report unless I'm not understanding what Walter G means. I'm thinking that the place that they're completing over is a product of Walter G. The housing that they're building over on Oakwood in my ward. Also, there's a vacant lot that they're getting ready to build. And I guess my concern is with all that activity, why no report to even let us know the status of, you know, how things are going. And one of my concerns is parking. I have no parking except on the street. And I know when you build these places, you allow so much parking, but there's always an overflow. If I bought a place and I have, say, even 2 parking spaces, I might have a third car wherein it ends up on someone else, you know, taking a spot. So those are some of my concerns, parking. And I'm just going to say in terms of the one that's almost completed, you know, it's new, but it doesn't, you know, the looks, it's not like the one over on, I guess that's Perot Street. They look more, to me, and I'm not, you know, I'm just me. As it relates to those buildings. It's new, and just because something new doesn't mean that it's always the best. You know, Chevys are good, but a Cadillac is better. I always use that as an analogy. And that's just, you know, the other thing I want to also ask in terms of minorities, people who live in the community being able to work on those projects. Is that the case? Okay. I want to go to the broadcasting. Again, people might not be familiar with the, I guess it's the YouTube, or however we're supposed to see it. And it takes more time to actually get there. If we can get the TV back. And I don't know if you can share with the school, you know, in terms of broadcasting. It was much easier, and what troubles me is, we had 2 gentlemen that did it. They didn't have all that technology. Why can't we do it as if, you know, when they did it? And then my question along with that is, if you have a person, and in the name, I won't call the name, that's supposed to be in charge of communication, is there a fee being paid? And if you tell me that the equipment isn't up to par, we had the speakers put in, thinking that things were going to get better, but they didn't. It just dropped off altogether. So I would like to see that back in place so that people can actually see what's going on in the meeting. And give you an example, when we had the meeting on the Y, had we had communication via TV, some of those same questions, some of those concerns could have been addressed, you know, on that media. And then coming here, it was like, so many people in this small place. And I appreciate, don't misunderstand, I appreciate having the opportunity to be here to speak on the Y situation. But if you had the TV going, the media, I think it would be much better you could have seniors able to stay at home and view it. Because initially when it started, I wasn't in agreement, but I can appreciate now the importance of having that TV for
Channel
our
35.
yeah, and if we can work with the schools. Now, and then I want to, since I'm talking about the why, I was here, and I was excited about the idea of just having a community center. I'm a native of Florida, and I'm giving that as an example. You go down and you find nothing but community centers. Matter of fact, the repast for my husband was at a community center. It was no problem. You just paid a fee, and then everything was taken care of. So it is worth the money to have a community center. And I listened to all of those things that were brought out at the meeting. And then the other disturbing part was I remember when members from the board came to present that to the council, and it was almost like it fell on deaf ear. And then to resurrect that same idea by administration seemed suspect to me. And this is just my own take from what's going on. But I do think we need a community center. And the why, and from a person like me, not one of the professionals, seem to be an ideal situation if we can come together and get it. And I would much rather see it under the control of the council, because that way we know that it will be not a self-serving entity, but it will be for our community. So I'm hoping that whatever bugs you need to work out or monsters, we can get it out and get someplace to serve us as a community center, preferably the Y, if you can do it. And then in listening to the presentation, I guess I kind of got confused. I thought it was a purchase, then it ended up being a lease. So I could be on the wrong understanding of what that meant. But if the purchase to me would be outright, if it's possible, would be ideal. And a lot of times we say how we're going to pay for it, but sometimes we have to think, in this case, what is better for our community. How? And I just got, being here as one of the seniors, they were excited just about the idea. And so to let that fall through the crack would not be a good fit for our senior citizens. I'm going to go to some of my usual questions, and before I get that on the library, I did see a flyer, but I would like to know where we are in terms of the matching grant and where we are, and hoping that our library will continue to flourish, and even with some work to it to make it look like
Yes, ma'am.
I want to go to, I'm going to say the BA. I looked at your agenda, and I still do not see a person there as BA. And I'm looking at Marty. He has a whole lot, nothing against him as the director of the public works. He does a nice job with that. But my thinking would just let him do that job. And I know in his position, he has to do what he has to do, and I understand that. But we need a BA. And as long as I've been coming to this council, and it's been a long time, we need it. And it's no reason for us not to have a BA sitting in the BA seat. And I think it's time that we should have it. The other thing that might not be too, I'll say it, having, I guess what you call a finance director. I'm concerned about the position he holds someplace else and the position he holds here. We don't need a mimic of Plainfield here in Orange. So those are some things we need to look at seriously. And if you can't do anything about it, we need to see what we can do about it. Or if you can make, like ordinances or whatever you do, resolutions to make a change, we need to do something about it. I don't want to have to get 7 on our side. But, and I'm thinking in that, what's wrong? Why can't we have a BA? Why haven't we had one? This is almost 2 years, and then we got a legislature research person here, and I just figured his job would be to find out what it is and how to do it. Maybe I'm wrong. Research. potholes. On the Oakwood, I think we need to work on that. The roads are just terrible. And then it's so sad. And I know you have a reason for doing it because we are building, but when you go one street and you're blocked off, you go to another one. And I do travel Main Street a lot because this is my home community. And so we have to do something about those potholes. And I'm hoping that we can really take care of them, stop digging up our streets, our roads, and make them nice and drivable for the residents of Orange. So, I'm just going to see how it goes. This is my first time here since, back, and it's hard. I missed a lot, but I think I can catch up. All right. BA, if you can.
Okay, so we're going to answer all the questions. So
One thing before I said, the time, I'm looking at that list that you have, the interpretive
statement.
Yeah. So will you address those, even though it's here?
Oh yeah, we're going to
But
have, it's gonna be
you understand?
discussed.
Okay.
Yes.
And especially the one about our time. We have the 10 minutes. We really don't take it much of your time. If you think about it, it's only a few of us here that speak. And the time sometimes that the council use is when things go awry, that we have more because you're debating issues. And that's where the time really goes. Our time, you can name it. 10 minutes at this meeting, 10 minutes at the next meeting. So I got 20 minutes a month. So think about that. Thank you.
Food for thought. Food for thought. Going back to our answers, Mr. Harris, regarding Ms. Gordon's question, did you have a response? Or do you were you talking to Attorney Smith about that?
Yes.
And I think there will, an opinion is forthcoming, but did you have anything that you wanted to say? And if so, can you go to the mic, please?
Do we want to entertain a motion to close citizens' comments?
After I answer the questions.
Okay.
And you could just tell the council briefly what was given to you.
Yes, good evening, members of council and members of the public administration. My name is Kevin Harris. I'm the Legislative Research Officer. What Ms. Gordon provided to me was 2 pages front and back of Article 21 of the Chapter 156, Article 21 of the Code, the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township, which encompasses sections 156-102 through section 156-110, dealing with vacant properties and registrations of vacant properties. I believe Ms. Gordon's question dealt specifically with the meaning of section 156-110, which deals with violations and penalties. And my interpretation of it, and I spoke with Mr. Smith about it, and we're in agreement that section 156-110 applies when property owners fail to do certain things regarding vacant properties. And when we say vacant properties, we're talking about buildings and structures, not vacant land. And it allows a fine provision against the owner, which can become a lien against the property, of not less than $500 and not more than $1,000 for each offense. And each day that a violation takes place can be a separate offense. And when would the owner be subject to being cited and subject to penalty under these provisions, under the provisions of this code? Well, number one, when they don't file a registration statement with the municipality within 30 days after their property becomes vacant. 2, if they are to assume ownership of a vacant property and they don't notify the municipality within 30 days. 3, if they fail to provide the correct information on the registration statement. 4, if they fail to comply with the posting of notices and the maintaining of insurance, the necessary required insurance, which is covered under this article, they're also subject to fine. And other matters that may be established by the public officer in this matter, and I believe property maintenance comes under the purview, Mr. Mays, it comes under the purview of Public Works and Planning. So Mr. Mays would be essentially the public officer in this matter, and he has within his authority the ability to promulgate and issue rules and regulations for the administration of vacant property. So those are 5 circumstances under which an owner can be cited.
Thank you very much.
I hope that answers Ms. Gordon's question.
And again, thank you, Ms. Harris. And again, a written decision will be available at the next opinion. I apologize. Will be available at the next meeting. Our first question came from Mr. Lewis. The video services that was put back when I believe this problem goes on back to the Hawkins administration, and the money was taken out of the Hawkins administration, out of the administration's budget, and put into the city council's budget 2 budgets ago. It is not a duplication of services, and the YouTube channel, when it first became available from this council meeting, it was stated on the record the actual address of the of the YouTube channel, and then Mr. Matt came up as well and gave the address of the YouTube channel and explained that it was the City of Orange and the city logo, and if you clicked on that on the YouTube channel, you could see all the meetings on YouTube effective October 21st, 2014. So it was explained over several meetings. Regarding an acting BA and an acting tax collector, Mr. Mapp, did you want to address that? Do we have an acting BA and an acting tax collector?
I'm Adrian Mapp, the Director of Finance. To the best of my knowledge, the City of Orange has a deputy BA, and that term can be interchanged with an acting BA, and I believe that was represented during the budget hearings a couple of days ago, actually yesterday. In terms of the tax collector's office, we no longer have a certified tax collector, and we have moved someone from the finance office into that role to act in the capacity of tax collector. It's not a formal appointment. It's not formal in terms of the requirements of the statute that would require the appointment of a temporary tax collector. So this person is assisting in the functions right now, and at some point in time, I am sure the mayor will present to the governing body a name for your consideration. But we are doing what we have to in order to make sure that the tax office continues to run as smoothly as possible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mapp. Councilwoman Eason.
He forgot to, Mr. Mapp, you only told half the story. We do have Mr. Smith filling in as the because in order to have a tax collection office, you gotta have somebody there with the certification. That's by law. So Mr. Smith is still there part-time as a certified tax collector.
Any documents that have to be signed, we have retained the services of Mr. Smith if signatures are needed from a certified tax collector.
Thank you. Moving forward, Mr. Harris answered the question regarding the property and the issue going back and forth, and there will be further discussion at the next meeting by Attorney Smith. The Public Works Committee again has asked that the at-large members come out to the Public Works Committee. They've already engaged the ward committee member, ward council members. I apologize. regarding the bill list,
Only two can come.
on page 3 of the bill list, the July, Mr. Scarry, do you want to answer why there's a July 2014 phone bill for $10,000? You sure can. And then I'll move to page 12. The Milburn Code Official, Mr. Mays, do you know what that is for, the 2100? On page 12 of the bill list.
Yeah, we're sharing a fire subcode official through shared services with Milburn.
Okay.
And that is why you see that $2,100.
Our portion, Mr. Scarry?
Joy Lascari, CFO. That particular bill was unfortunately overlooked in the shuffle. Once we found it, it's now being paid. It was actually encumbered back in October. I'm sorry, it was encumbered back in October, but the paperwork was misplayed. Now it's bound.
It says July 2014.
I know, but if you look to the right, the first encumbered date is October.
Okay. And that's received in October. Okay. Councilwoman Eason?
Why don't you still have her explain why the salary and wages is intertwined within instead of on a separate page?
Okay, we have other
like
questions.
we always received it.
Okay.
Yeah, my apologies for that. We have an employee who is out on vacation and others having to do double duty with, and so in order to get the bill list to the council on time, we could not do that extra procedure to put it separate from the bill list. We wanted to be able to at least get the information onto this bill list. Otherwise, you'd have to wait until next council meeting to see this particular payroll.
So it was an error?
Not an error, just, people trying to do double duty.
Council President,
Yes,
can we be
Council
furnished
President.
that?
Mr. Scarry, can you stay because there's other
Yeah,
questions?
can we be furnished this bill list at the next council meeting in the proper format?
Can it be resubmitted in the proper format? Mr. Scarry?
At the next meeting. 2 weeks.
So you want to vote on the same thing twice?
No, I didn't say vote. I said another copy. I didn't say vote. We're voting on it tonight.
Can you resubmit it in the correct format or the format where we normally receive it?
Let's discuss how that would actually work.
Yes or no? If you can't do it, just say no.
We can put it on, but then it'll be voting for the same thing twice.
No, Mr. Scarry, can you resubmit it in the normal way that it is, in the normal format in which it's normally submitted?
You're not going to address it, just a copy.
Oh, you just want to
Just redo it
see,
in the format.
you just want to see that particular item separated out.
Right.
No, the bill list.
The whole bill is in its normal
bill
format.
list-
Oh, that's not so easy to do.
Okay, we're not finished, Mr. Scarry. I'm sorry.
Just say yes or no.
Okay,
No.
so going to page 14 and page 14 and page 12. No, it's 14 and 15. The amount for 118,000, or or Director Mason, the amount for 207,000.
I think you're referring to page 14,
Right.
which talks about the senior buses.
The passenger
Right.
minibus.
Those are the two new senior buses that was in the bond ordinance, and the city ordered those buses. They're due to arrive any day now, and Public Works oversees or orders a lot of things for police, fire, and community service. So these are the senior buses again, and they're being paid for out of the bond ordinance. So they won't be driven by Public Works. They'll be driven by the normal bus staff of community service.
So the question Mr. Josh asked was, it's under DPW heavy equipment. Why not under community services or senior?
because the Public Works Department ordered the buses, and probably that's why you see it under there. But they're going to go to they're going to go to community service.
Mrs. Gary, you want to have a follow-up for that?
Yes, this is not a budget item. This is not part of the budget. That's why it's not under community service. This is part of the bond ordinance. It's in the general capital fund. That's why the account number is C, which means capital. 04 means general capital. 14 means the year. 09. The bond ordinance was 9-2014. You can backtrack it that way.
Okay, but and to the right of the account number does say DPW heavy equipment.
Correct, because the bond ordinance was broken up into various categories and to have better control over how the money was appropriated, and that particular group included this particular item.
But the fire truck won't come under this DPW?
No, it'll be under the section, it's the same, almost the same account number. The fire truck, I think they're letter A or B, I don't remember. Let me see if I look back here and see if it's in here. No, but each section of the bond ordinance was broken out and given a different title and a different account number.
Okay, and then on page 15, the $207,000 for under third-party tax redemptions.
What was the question on that?
Can you explain what that item is? 370 Central Avenue.
The property owner has paid the taxes on their property, and the lien holder is now being reimbursed.
I believe that's all the questions. But Mrs. Scarrett, let me, so the $10,000 that was for a prior year bill, it's on the bill list, but when we were doing the budget last night and there were no items, there was no funds allocated for prior year bills because you said there was no list.
Are you talking about the $10,000 for the telephone?
Right.
Earlier? That was charged to the budget in 2014. It would not constitute a prior year bill.
It was charged, and why is it just showing up on this bill list?
Because the paperwork was inadvertently misplaced.
But it was already paid back in...
No, it was encumbered. A purchase order was generated back in October. As the paperwork's now available to be put on.
So the PO was done back in October, but it was still paid just recently?
Today, on this.
Okay, so that would qualify as the list item that we were talking about last
No,
time?
it doesn't qualify as a list item.
All right.
It was already encumbered last year.
All right. The TV station, Ms. Stewart had, and Mr. Lewis also had made mention of a better use of the council's time rather than have a videographer videotape the council meetings. It would have been a better use of time for the council to have conversations with the administration. Councilwoman Gaunt Butler, along that I'm aware of, and I know Councilwoman Eason has talked to the administration for a long period of time, and at one point specifically Councilwoman Gaunt Butler stated at every meeting up until recently that based on her conversations with the administration that she was looking forward to Channel 35 being up and starting. I think you just said it during the budget hearing as well, correct, Councilwoman Gaunt Butler? So there were several conversations. This videographer came after waiting and waiting and waiting for the administration giving many answers and not producing in terms of Channel 35 being back up. And regarding the development of Oakwood Avenue, Councilman Johnson, you will have an update at the next meeting?
I can speak to that. It's not a formal meeting, minutes of a meeting, but I can speak to that. Ms. Stewart, I generally give a report if I actually attend a meeting, but we've been so busy with budget hearings, I missed the last couple. The vacant lot on Oakland and Perot is, I believe, it's Walter G. Phase 3. And they were waiting for monies to be freed up, but they're actually going to be doing some work on that ground real soon. The building complex down towards where you live at on Oakwood Avenue, I happened to come through there a couple of weeks ago, and Director McNeil was out there and he invited me in. That project is coming along good. It's going to be done soon. They're doing interior stuff, all the exterior and infrastructure stuff is done. The units, he took me in all the different size units, and I like the way it's designed with big windows and so forth. It may not be pleasing aesthetically to some people's eyes, but they're working hard over there. They do have quite a few people. When I was there visiting, the whole staff that was working on the project was minority. And in the back of the housing units, it's ample parking, I think somewhere to the tune of maybe 2 cars per unit. So the off-street parking is going to be out of sight. They're going to have plenty of security cameras. And just give it a chance once it gets done. They're looking to have a really nice housing complex over there.
Attorney Smith, Ms. Stewart asked a question, and Mr. Portelli from RPM spoke about earlier about jobs as it related to the development. So RPM would be one development. Walter G will be another development. Can you speak to, and I think Mr. Portelli did speak about First Source, could you speak briefly to the audience about, our constituents about hiring on the development and redevelopment jobs?
Okay. We've undertaken in our discussions with developers that as part of their corporate citizenship, if you will, that they hire Orange residents as part of the development plans, both for our city projects as well as for housing authorities projects. Under housing authority, under section 3 of the HUD rules, they're required to hire a number of citizens from the housing authority as well as the town, and we require that approximately a little over 30% of all billable hours on our development projects include residents from Orange. And these positions take on a wide variety of skill sets, from labor to tradesmen, and to their credit, they bought into it, and they have hired Orange citizens. And we intend to continue that in our projects as we go forward.
Thank you. And I believe Mr. Portelli mentioned there were 15 hires to date. Did you state that? Okay. There were 15 hires to date on the project that's behind, the lot behind the post office.
Exactly. And in fact, to their credit, as you know, we had a job fair this past Saturday. One gentleman had masonry skill, and they hired him on the spot. I believe he started Monday. So obviously we're very happy for him, but we're also, it's good to see RPM being such a good partner in this process.
And also, I know, and that's, you referring to when the gentleman was walked right over to the,
right,
walked right over to this, to the development and was hired on the spot. And also, and I know that when the development actually first started, I was pleased to see during the phase when they were setting up and they just had the security there, that there has been a trailer out there since the beginning. And I was driving by and I seen one of our Orange residents female security officer, she was walking the property, and she's a lifelong resident of Orange. So there is the hiring going on, and Attorney Smith has been very passionate about holding developers to the fire, their feet to the fire in terms of hiring the residents. That being said, is there a motion to close citizens' comments?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by everybody, but I'll say led by Councilman Corbett. I failed to do one report. Ms. Ike from the county, if you can come up and give your report on behalf of Essex County.
Good evening, Madam President, Council members. Ike Jenkins, Risk Manager for the County of Essex and Liaison to Orange. A couple of things I wanted to share with the Council tonight with regard to upcoming activity in the county. But before I do that, I wanted to go back and address some of the concerns and questions that were posed by this Council at the last time I attended. One being the sweeping of Scotland Road. Since the weather has lightened up and is being more forgiving now, the schedule has resumed. And I'm told that it's posted and it's on Mondays from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. every Monday, and that's when they sweep Scotland Road. With regard to repaving, in talking with the Public Works Director, he advises that the road has been paved within the last 10 years, and it's on a 15-year cycle. However, there's some utility cuts that were made by a local utility service that is, I guess, the root cause for the premature potholes. So I'm still waiting for a response with respect to whether or not they're going to come back and contribute to the repair, or whether we're going to fill them with fill the potholes or what. So I'm still waiting to hear from him with regard to that. The other issue we talked about was Orange Park. Okay. Since we last met, there has been an effort to go in and clean up. A lot of the twigs and branches and tree limbs have been cleaned up, and I think it looks a little bit better over there. Fencing, they're waiting for approval per the Parks Director to invoke the fencing contract to repair the fences. The geese in the park, there's a bid that's been presented to bring in borderline collies. I believe that's a strategy that's been used in the past for other parks. I have yet to see it, so when it does happen, I'll keep my eye on it to see how effective it is. I would imagine that if we're trading collies for geese, you might have another issue, but if vendors should be cleaning up after the dogs, if that's going to be the case. All right. And then lastly, flooding. I noticed there's some significant flooding in the park. And in talking with Public Works Director and the Parks Director, what they've advised me is that the flooding is not caused by a line or an affluent or water line that's owned by the county or by the municipality. So what I'd like to propose is a meeting with Mr. Mays so I can get insight from you or feedback from you in terms of any discussion you've had with the county before my arrival, because I just don't know where we are. Okay. And those were the issues from the last meeting. The county is going to be sponsoring a job fair on May 21st at the Essex County College Gym in Newark from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Potential applicants can register both online and in person at the Essex County One-Stop Career Center at 50 South Clinton Street in East Orange. Potential applicants and potential employers who'd like to participate can contact Mrs. Sharon Fields at 973-395-5879 for more information. Essex County is celebrating its 10th annual Earth Day celebration on Saturday, April 25th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Essex County Environmental Center. This free event will offer nature crafts, canoeing, a turtleback zoo live animal show, live music, food, and much, much more for attendees to partake in. County Executive Joe DiVincenzo and the Board of Chosen Freeholders and the Essex County Utility Authority invites all residents of Orange and Essex County to participate in two upcoming events, one being the Essex County Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day, which will take place on Saturday, May 2nd from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the Essex County Computer and Electronics Recycling Day, which will take place on Saturday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Both events are free for all Essex County residents who show proof of residency and will take place at 125 Fairview Avenue in Cedar Grove. Residents can contact the Utility Authority at 973-792-9060 or visit the county website for information as well as what can and cannot be accepted. Flyers regarding these events are made available to all council members tonight and were previously mailed to Mr. Mays and County President. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Councilman from County Representative.
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
With regards to Scotland Road, I believe I'm the guilty one that brought all that good stuff to your attention. I'm disappointed that the county feels that it's not necessary to resurface the road right now, because if you coming over Scotland Road heading north, you coming from South Orange, you would notice right away the impact that it has had on Orange. And the county does a terrific job coming out after every winter season and patching it, which clearly means that it's deteriorating and it needs to be resurfaced. It really does. I mean, you can travel it yourself and take it all the way out to certainly past Tremont Avenue, and you'll see that it really, really does need to be resurfaced. So hopefully the county will revisit that. I don't think it's fair to put the entire blame on PSE&G and other contractors who have dug up. And certainly it will be their responsibility to resurface what they did and resurface it correctly. But the county has to take some ownership in that as well.
Right.
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
You got a response?
Through you, Madam President, I'll be sure to take that back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And at this time, we'll have council comments. Councilman Corbett.
I just need the Public Works Committee to let me know when their meeting is, and I will do what I can to be present at that meeting or those meetings. Right in line with what Public Works, what the committee has brought forward with regards to some of these abandoned properties, Mr. Mays. On the corner of Haxton and Haywood, there's a brown house. The entrance is on Haxton, and it's fallen down. And in that neighborhood, I'm surprised that someone hasn't taken the property over to make sure that it is right in line with the rest of the properties in that area. Also on the corner of Tremont and Berkeley. Tremont and Berkeley, I don't know who's the owner of that house, but someone has dug up and made a path like they were doing some sort of piping. They dug up the sidewalk. The sidewalk has, and it's been like that for a good while, over a year, I believe. The sidewalk has been raised, and someone needs to go out and take a look at that property as well. As all of you know, we have been going through the budget hearing process, and you will find that the administration is seriously looking at creating another department, HR in particular, which we all agree needs to be in place. They're also talking about adding additional employees in other areas within City Hall. The problem I have is that the priority ought to be the Orange Police Department. And no one in the administration has taken the lead to say, we are going to hire more police officers. I don't think it's fair to shortchange and to continue to have our police director to work under duress when there is something that the city can do to help him to fully staff himself and to really make a difference in our public safety efforts. So within the process that the council will be taking, I know I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we get more police officers hired for the city of Orange. Again, I say that should be a priority. How can you not make public safety a priority? It doesn't make sense to me. So those are the areas that I'm concerned with, particularly with this budget, along with some other things that I'll get into at another time. Thank you, Council Vice President.
Thank you, Councilman Corbett. Councilwoman Neeson.
I wasn't going to really make any comments tonight, but I just need to clarify something that Mr. Phil said that was totally untrue. And Mr. Mapp, I'm going to take the blame for that because I know part of that initiated as of my efforts 2 or 3 weeks ago when what we have in Orange right now, we have a lot of vendors that have not been paid since February. Purchase orders have not been acted on, bills have not been submitted, So right now, the finance department is playing catch up. Contrary to Mr. Phil's belief, he was not being picked on. He was not being singled out. Every vendor in Orange that has done business in Orange is now looking to get money that has not been paid to them. Part of that is because, as Mr. Mapp said last night, and I hate to agree with this, but his department has been short of employees, and they have not been able to handle the workload, which is what I've said numerous council meetings. Our receivables are not coming in, the bills are not being submitted, and I have another vendor that's, I think he's in the West Ward, who's totally, I think he sort of had a nervous breakdown when he got his bill last week for bills that went back to February. One of the things that I had asked through the mayor and Mr. Edwards is that going forward for recreation, all requests to Lero's will go through Dina Manton, and it has to be done via purchase order. Lero's has been instructed not to take any more verbal requests for anything, t-shirts, anything. Everything has to come to him through a purchase order, so that the finance department can stay on top of the bills and make sure those bills are paid timely. The same thing with Mr. Epstein. In order for us to track what's being bought out of his store and the bills being submitted and paid on time, they must be done by purchase order. And I think that was what the finance department was just alluding to, that he's not the only vendor that request is being made of, that they not accept any more verbal orders, that they not have anybody just walking off the street and say, I'm representing the police department, etc., and I want to buy X amount of items. They have to come through City Hall via a purchase order. And I think that's why we have a purchasing agent. So, I know Mr. Phil got upset and he thought it was Mr. Smith getting even with him, but that is totally not true. So, Mr. Mapp, I will take the heat for that because I think that was part of the initiative that I started. So you can take that off of your plate. You can blame me, and I will explain that to Mr. Phil that he's not being singled out, but we have to get our finances in order. And the only way to do that, we have to have some processes in place so that we can monitor and track bills. And that goes back also to the $10,000 for the Verizon bill that was since February. We've got to get better at our finances. And that's why I said last night that I am supportive of some of the things and initiatives that Mr. Mapp talked about, because I know police officers are a priority, safety is our priority, but the one thing we all have to keep in mind, if we don't have money, we cannot pay them. And part of that is making sure that our finances are in order. We're getting our receivables in, and I think Hudson City was another example that they hadn't gotten the bills, I think it was like July of last year. So when these vendors are getting hit now with these bills from months and months, and it turns in, and I always tell people when they come to me and ask for help with their rent or their mortgage, I can help you pay 1 month. But when you let it go 6 months, it's much harder to come up with $1 million than it is 500. So, and that's what we got to make sure, that our bills are timely, the processes are in place, that vendors are told that they cannot give merchandise and then expect to send a bill and get it paid. Because if it gets lost, he has no proof that the items was ever received. So that is the part, that is what I wanted to stress tonight, to make sure that no one goes home thinking that the city is picking on Mr. Phil, because that's not true.
Thank you. That's it, Councilwoman Easton?
That's it.
Councilwoman Gone Butler?
No comment.
Councilman Johnson?
Thank you, Council President. At this time, I would just like to encourage all of our citizens to come out to public hearing for the budget. All the parties involved, the administration, the council, and the CBAC has been working really hard to stay focused and stay on track. We just have one more department to talk about, and we should be heading towards the goalposts, the nuts and bolts, so getting down to the nitty gritty. So
Slicing and dicing.
I think I just want to thank especially the Citizen Budget Advisory Committee, everybody, We did a 12 o'clocker last night. Everybody's been putting in the hours. So as a finance committee chair, I really appreciate everybody's sacrifice. Only one person went home early last night.
It wasn't me.
See now, Johnson.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Oh,
You got to come back now.
You have some?
No, I have no comment.
You have
Okay.
no comments?
All right.
Councilwoman Summer Johnson, I apologize.
I'm setting my timer for 1 minute because that's all I need. All right. I just really want to get back to being on TV. I really want us to be back on TV, and I've also had conversations with the administration and was told that many of the equipment is in, like we were told last week. But the scary part about us going back on TV is I remember campaigning and residents were saying that it was like a circus, it was like the Jerry Springer show. And aside from being a councilwoman, I'm also a teacher, I'm someone's mother, I'm someone's wife. And I was always taught getting louder doesn't make you right. And we just have to figure out a way. We are the face of Orange, the residents and the council. And we have to figure out a way to conduct business in a business atmosphere. I can sit here and listen to, being uneducated, illiterate, and don't know how to read. I can listen, I can deal with that. I can take constructive criticism all night. But what we cannot have is people yelling and screaming. That's why I haven't asked any of the students to come and do the flag salute, because as a teacher, I know that children are very impressionable, and I will not have any students from the city of Orange thinking that this is how you conduct business, because we will not have a future mayor or a future council person coming out of the Orange Public Schools if they see us ranting and raving. We have to figure out a way to agree to disagree. And I thought we were doing that. Even through the budget process, I felt like I was leaving here late, but what a good feeling, like we were moving forward. And I just don't want to go back to the circus that I remembered with people just screaming. It's just ridiculous. So I do want to be back on TV. But prior to that, I think that some people really just need to do some soul searching and just look in the mirror for a second and see if that's the face of Orange that we really want to show. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Summer Johnson. Councilman Coley.
Thank you, Council President. Again, I just want to talk about the problem properties. We need to put some plan in place for all the properties that's on this abandoned property list, so we could have a running real-time log as to the status of each property that's on this list. And I want to thank Mr. Mays for getting that temporary traffic light at Main and Oakwood, because that has been a traffic hazard for the last few weeks. I go through that intersection maybe 6-7 times a day, and every time I was going through the intersection, almost getting into an accident. And also the gas vents, Mr. Mays, at Park and Ward, we can get PSC&G to straighten that out. And I just want to make a comment based on what Councilwoman Easton said about the finance department being short-handed and not being able to keep up with the workload. I just want to say our police department has also been short-handed for a number of years. And every time you pick the phone up to call 911 or there's an emergency, the police are there handling the business. So even though you're short, the mission and a job and a goal still and must and shall be complete. And regarding an HR department, having been a employee of the town for a number of years, there has been an issue with certain issues regarding human resources. However, I don't think a full department is needed. We maybe just need to dedicate one person, and work under someone. We don't need a whole department. That's how I feel. And the YWCA, we still haven't received no operational figures and budgets. Operational numbers regarding how it's going to impact this budget that we're working on, and how it's going to impact the future budgets. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coley. Briefly, First, I would like to take the time out on behalf of the City Council, City of Orange, is to congratulate our Councilwoman Summers Johnson, who just received an award for Women on Fire. Women on Fire. And and when we receive awards, it's important to know why we're accepting and receiving awards. So, Councilwoman Summers Johnson, I just want you to be able to give a little brief.
I'll do it in 2 seconds.
One.
There are a group of women in the city of Newark that put together an organization called Newark Circle of Sisters, where they recognize women in the Newark community that are making the impact on the city. And I'm a teacher in Newark. I teach first grade, so I received an Education of Excellence Award for the way I implemented the new Common Core with creating new characters with each domain. So I received an award along with Bessie Walker, a bunch. I was up there with some heavy hitters, so I was very humbled by being there. So that's what I received on Sunday. Thank you.
And again, just welcome back, Ms. Stewart.
Yes.
You've been gone for a while, and you were noticeably missed. And we did send out prayers and condolences for your family, as well as you, and it's great to have you back. And another person that I was shocked that was not here during a lot of budget hearings was Ms. Gordon. So it's good to see you in here tonight, because I know the budget is like your baby. But just, it's good, people ought to be here, or who are generally here and they're not. Council does notice it. Earlier in the evening, I mentioned that Orange will be having a community day, and it's Saturday, May 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the rear parking lot. Agencies and departments that will be here is the Public Works Department, Health Department, Planning and Code Enforcement, Finance Department, Fire Department, Police Department, Recreation, City Clerk, as well as the County Clerk, Orange Housing Authority, Essex County Home Improvement, Not Orange. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to the Health Department at 4071, or for that matter, 973-266-4071. You can reach out to any department, but it is a great day to come out and get some great items to take home, shred your papers, as well as get some things done that you may not be able to get done because you're at work. Also, tomorrow here in Council Chambers, the City of Orange is proud that we will be honoring our first female firefighter. And her name is Monique Allwood, and it will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 12 noon. We should get a hand clap, our first female.
Girl power.
So, come on, Director Douglas, come up. Not yell from the back of the room. And if Orange was 100% safe, knowing that a female's there, you're
yes, everything's gonna be. We're good now.
Kenneth Douglas, Fire Director. Actually, it's Thursday.
It's Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday. You're right. It's the 23rd. Okay.
I know that we're honoring her being the first and the only female firefighter in Orange, which I'm very humbled just to be here and to introduce her. I'm thankful just to talk to her, tell her story to me, and I'm looking forward to her telling her story. She's a little shy, so I might have to tell it for her, but I'm gonna tell her story, the things that she's been through since she's been in the ranks of the fire department. She's 3 years in now, and she's doing very well.
And she's driving the truck too.
Yeah, she is. She's actually one of the better drivers.
Girl, come on now.
To her advantage, she actually drove buses before she got in the fire department. So she actually had an advantage over those guys.
But still handling it.
Oh, yeah. She's one of the aggressive firefighters, too, so she put a lot of those guys to shame.
Girl power.
Girl power.
Thank you, Director Douglas. Also, I just wanted to, and Councilwoman Summers Johnson talked about it. I'm not going to, in terms of us being cordial to one another. Orange is 2.2 square miles, and everybody knows everybody in some form or fashion. And I believe we're all passionate from whatever position we're in, but it's important. I know for me, oftentimes when I'm interrupting somebody, is because I have a job to do when everything cannot be stated on the record, and then most important, everybody can't talk at the same time. So please, if I interrupt you, just give me a second so I can get direction. If I have the attorney in one ear telling me it can't be done, and I have a director asking me to slow down, and I forgot to do something, it's just so we can get the most efficient information out to everybody. It's not to be rude, but it's to ensure that we conduct a professional meeting. So again, I apologize to the audience, and Councilwoman Easton, thank you for stepping in and explaining why Mr. Feld was probably so passionate about something tonight. But we often all say that, and don't do that, this is not the only time you have to ask questions. Directors are here all during the week. Your council members, generally speaking, I know I can reach council members up to 11 and 12 o'clock at night. So, and they answer. So, I mean, or text and, email, but please, this is not the only time that you can reach out to council members. Councilman Coley, and I haven't heard him talk about it in a while, but one of the initiatives that he sought out to, and I'm sure he's still working out, is to at least while council meetings are going on, to have City Hall in terms of the different offices open later so that people can do their business on other hours other than the traditional 8:30 to 4:30, 9 to 5. So if we work together, we'll have and work collectively, we're able to offer a better service, and we are each other's customers in different perspective. If I'm coming to a director asking a question, I'm coming in a customer's standpoint at that, from a customer standpoint. So let's work together and let's seek out to be positive to one another so that we can serve to our best and highest capacity. With that being said, Clerk, can we move the agenda?
Yes, we're on to ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 14/2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Administration of Government regarding Department Director, sponsored by Councilmember April Gaunt Butler.
Is there anybody from the public that would like to be heard on 14-2015? If not,
Motion to close.
motion to close by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Gaunt Butler. On the motion, seeing none, a roll call on motion to close. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
Yes.
And I am in favor as well.
Motion passes 7 yeas. Ordinance 15/2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City.
Wait, I'm sorry, go back. I'm sorry.
second.
See, now he's in my ear right there. A motion to adopt on final reading.
Move.
Moved by, I'm sorry, Councilman Corbett?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion, final adoption. Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
In favor.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Motion still passes.
Okay, it's adopted in 15.
15/2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Administration of Government, amending the section regarding council committees, sponsored by Councilmember April Gaunt Butler.
Is anybody from the public? Seeing none.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by
Second.
Corbett, second by Councilman Johnson. On the motion, seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
In favor.
And I am in favor as well. Motion to close, 7 yeas. Motion to adopt on
Move.
final reading by Councilman Corbett.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Johnson. On the motion, seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
No.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
In favor.
And I am in favor as well.
Motion passes 6 yeas, 1 nay. Ordinance 18/2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Administration of Government, amending the powers of the City Council regarding council activity.
Ms. Stewart?
Gloria Stewart, resident of Orange. I'm reading it. Would you explain when it says about the powers, amending the powers. I understand the reading itself, but in what respect? What would that do?
Councilman Butler, do you want to answer?
Yes. Hi, Ms. Stewart.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So essentially what this ordinance is trying to do is give the council the power to enter into contracts that are already approved through the adopted budget. Sometimes there is a delay with administration when we have to wait on them, but this kind of empowers us to conduct our own business as long as it's approved and adopted budget funds for the current year. So
Okay.
that's what it's essentially doing.
I hear what you're saying. It sounds good, but will there be any way for administration to sort of, if you understand what I mean, to not make it happen or to cause things not, past experience?
Well, we're hoping that this paves the way.
Okay.
To a more unencumbered way to process business for the council.
Okay. Now that I've asked all of that, will I be able to get a copy so that I can really digest the interpretations of what you have here? The old, the part that you're amending, you explained it well, but just down from all of them, will a copy be made available? Because a lot of times when you introduce these new ordinances, people are not really aware of the extent. Right. So I think if we can get that out to public and me being part of it.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll make sure that happens.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Corbett.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion to close, seeing none, Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler.
In favor.
And I am in favor as well. A motion to adopt.
Move.
Moved
Second.
by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion, seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler.
In favor.
And I am in favor as well.
Motion to adopt passes 7 yeas. Ordinance 19-2015, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit to establish a capped bank in accordance with NJSA 4-45.14.
Tim, anybody from the public that'd like to be heard? Ms. Gordon?
Kathleen Gordon.
Yes.
Well, I had questions prior to this meeting already about this ordinance, and today I looked up the DLGS website. That there is a budget cap information article there. This is what I understood. I would like to have it confirmed, and then I have comments or questions. So the cost of living adjustment this year is would be 1.5%. According to this article, the increase of financial appropriation automatically, this 1.5%, this would keep the city in pretty much in space, with not expanding and not contracting financially. The limit without ordinance from another standpoint is 2.5%. With the increasing the budget up to 2.5% would still not require to pass this ordinance. If you want to get above the 2.5 to 3.5, then you have to pass this ordinance. I asked previously Mr. Mapp what is left from the previous year's budget cap ordinance. He said about $1 million. So first of all, I recommend there has to be a point where we are not constantly expanding our financial appropriations beyond that of this natural cost of living expense increase. Second of all, we have some money put away, and we don't need to repeat this. We did it last year. We saved some money of it. Is, to me, just not right, and financially not appropriate to constantly expand and expand. We can't do it. So if I misunderstood any of the budget cap info, then I would appreciate being corrected. Otherwise, my opinion is that we should start at least staying at place, if not decreasing, relatively speaking, our budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Is anybody else in the public that would like to be heard?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Johnson. On the motion, on the close, seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley.
No.
To close the public.
Oh, yes. I apologize. My mind is someplace else. Yes. It's there.
Okay, you want to close. Councilman
I put it back up.
Okay, Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler.
In favor.
And I am in favor as well. Motion to adopt on final reading.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. We got the seconds. On the motion, seeing none, roll call to adopt on final.
Me?
Councilman Coley, I
No.
apologize. Councilman Coley, Councilman Corbett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
No.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler,
In favor.
and I am in favor as well.
The motion to adopt passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
First reading.
Ordinance on first reading, 17-2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 210 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Development Regulations regarding the Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion
This
to
was
adopt.
postponed from the previous meeting.
She didn't finish reading.
Huh?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Motion.
To adopt on first reading.
Second.
I
Councilman
offered
Corbett,
it.
I apologize. Second by Councilwoman Easton on the motion. Council members, I am asking that we withdraw this one because, as you know, it has been postponed for several meetings because several corrections needed to be made. The corrections that needed to be made was that this was passed successfully last year. Let me yield to Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris?
Before you do that, are you saying you want to postpone it again?
No.
Or withdraw it?
I'm getting ready to tell why. On the motion, why we
But
have.
you're going to withdraw is what you're saying.
Yes, Councilwoman Eason. Mr. Harris?
30
This is the historic preservation.
Good evening, members, council, administration, and public. Kevin Harris, Legislative Research Officer.
Mr. Harris? You don't recall why we had to postpone it and do it?
We had to postpone it because primarily there was no provision made for members that had already been appointed to the newly created Historic Preservation Commission.
I'm sorry, Mr. Harris. Director Douglas, the voice is carried because it's room echo. It's not you. He said it's him. If you could just go into the council chambers, that's why we make that room available. I apologize, Mr. Harris.
It's okay, ma'am. The previously created ordinance did not allot for, well, the originally created ordinance provided for appointment of members in one fashion. Then this ordinance was to make our Historic Preservation Commission more in line with guidelines that are established by the state which would enable the Historic Preservation Commission to qualify for state grants and aid and things of that nature. That had to be fine-tuned. This ordinance is going. A new ordinance has been generated and submitted for governing body consideration, which essentially provides a grandfather provision for members who have already been appointed. Those members will be allowed to serve out their present term.
Thank you, Attorney Harris. So make a recommendation that we withdraw 17 and move forward with 22. Is there anything else on the motion? Seeing none,
did I miss something?
I think we missed.
Go ahead.
It's two.
I think we missed the formatting of how.
No,
we
I'm
withdraw.
going to. So can we?
You making a motion withdrawing that's going to supersede the motions that we
Yes.
made, right? So you need a
Can-
second.
That's correct. So we have a motion on the floor, Doc, but I'm making a motion that will supersede a motion to withdraw 17-2015.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Butler. On roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler.
In favor.
And I am in favor as well. 17-2015 is withdrawn. Moving to 22-2015.
Ordinance 22-2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 210 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Development Regulations Regarding the Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion to adopt on first reading.
Move.
Moved by
Second.
Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Gaunt Butler. On the motion, seeing none, roll call, Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler.
In favor.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
And I am in favor as well.
Motion passes 7 yeas. Ordinance number 23-2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Administration of Government, dealing procedural rules of the City Council.
Motion to adopt on first reading.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Johnson on the motion. Seeing no roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Corbett,
No.
Councilwoman Eason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler,
No.
and I am in favor.
Motion passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Public hearing.
We have a public hearing for these on May 19, 2015.
And that will be for 22 and 23-2015. Consent agenda.
All items listed with the asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council members so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda.
82 stay postponed. Mr. Tarr will be at the next meeting. Are there any other resolutions?
116.
Are there any resolutions to be removed? I'm sorry.
116.
Yes, I have some.
Okay. I'm sorry, Councilman Johnson.
116.
116. Is that it, Councilman Johnson?
Nope.
Is that it, Councilman
Yeah,
Johnson? Yes.
for me, yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler?
The ones that I want to pull.
Mm-hmm.
You always leaving early, so don't pull a whole lot so we can go on.
113. Nobody listening to you.
113.
Just give a whole speech on it.
120. And 122.
Okay. So far, I know I can hear talking. It picks up on the mic. Can you please?
It's William Hathaway.
Junior.
Beacon Avenue. No, look at that.
130. So what's being removed for a separate vote is 113, 116, 120, and 122.
113, 116.
Okay. We're going to the consent agenda. Councilwoman Eason. We're voting on the consent agenda, 114, 2015.
115, 2015, 117, 2015, 118, 2015, 119, 2015, 121, 2015, 123, 2015.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Butler. Council, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda carried. You said me?
No.
Going back to 114-2015, a resolution of the City of Orange Township authorizing the adoption of 2015 Essex County All Hazard Mitigation.
Wait a minute,
I said
113.
113.
I'm sorry,
I said
you're right,
114.
you're right, I apologize. I apologize, I have a circle too. A resolution authorizing the purchase of one 2015 Hino miniature garbage truck for the City of Orange Township. Public Works Department, Street Division, under state contract number A as in Apple 83010 to HK Truck Services, Inc., 2624-A Hamilton Boulevard, South Plainfield, New Jersey, 07080, and the amount not to exceed $107,960.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Butler. On the motion. Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler?
No.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
And I am in favor as well.
The motion passes 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Moving to the next circled item, 116-2015, a resolution authorizing membership into the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program and acquisition of 2015 Ferrara Custom Heavy Duty Cinder Pump.
Move.
Moved by
Second.
Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Butler. On the motion. Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler?
In favor.
Why did you Council?
I didn't pull that one.
Who pulled that one?
Not me.
She's all on your stuff.
Oh, Harold
Yeah.
pulled it.
I
Harold,
didn't pull
you
that
pulled
one.
that.
Good Lord, guys. Councilman Johnson pulled it. Councilman Johnson?
No.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
And I am in favor.
The motion does pass.
Security.
6 yeas, 1 nay.
That's 116.
Somebody suffer from Jeff Nelson.
Resolution 120-2015, a resolution approving the bill list for the council meeting vote on April 21st, 2015, dated April 7, 2015, and approving checks issued by the Finance Department in accordance with Ordinance 2-95, a grand total of $3,041,984.93.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Butler. On the motion. Real quick on the motion, did we decide from the Finance Department that we can get the bill list resubmitted, Mr. Matt? Tomorrow?
We will provide you with a separate bill list that would give it to you in the format that you prefer.
Okay, can we have that tomorrow, sir?
We will attempt to do that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilwoman? Councilwoman Eason?
Did she tell you that the girl was on vacation? That does it
That was a
that way?
while ago.
That was previous, Councilwoman Eason.
Huh?
That was previous.
No,
They
she
said,
said
well, they said, Mr. Mapp said we will attempt to do it.
I know she
Are
said
there any
the
more
person
on the
was
motion? Seeing none, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Corbett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler,
No.
and I am in favor.
Motion passes 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Stewart, I'll come back at the end of other business.
Ordinance-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ordinance 122-2015, Resolution 122-2015. Resolution authorizing the law firms of Florio, Kenny, and Feinstein, Rice, Beeline, and Booker, LLC.
Is that fine, Keyline? I'm not asking you.
Beeline,
No, I see what you're saying.
Stevens, and Boak, and Wolf and Sampson to represent the city of Orange Township in regard to tax appeal matters.
Move.
Moved by
Second.
Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Butler on the motion.
that was
Wait,
Thomas
wait.
Johnson.
I'm sorry,
Second.
Excuse me.
Johnson. 1 second, not Ms. Smith. Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Summers Johnson. On the motion, Mr. Smith, is there correction?
There is, Stevens and Ball, Wolf, Sampson are not part of the resolution.
Okay, that wasn't a conversation, that wasn't the correction I was looking for. Can you talk into the mic and say what you just said, sir?
Those, the last two firms, Stevens and Ball, Wolf, Sampson, are not part of the resolution.
122.
So we're making an amendment?
Well, the resolution correctly says who's included.
So it's
This one, on the notice,
Okay, so the title is wrong.
But the resolution
Is correct. A resolution authorizing law firms of Florio, Kenny, and Feinstein, Reyes, and is K-E-L, is it Klein or Kellen?
It's
Are you looking
Klein.
at?
yes, Klein.
Klein.
It is Klein, Klein and Booker LLC to represent the city of Orange Township. So notice that by title is wrong. The title on the agenda reads Stevens and Bow and Wolf and Sampson. That's not on the resolution, nor should it be.
On the motion.
We're on the motion now, Councilman.
Okay, yeah, I have a question. Who is the deputy city attorney?
James Wolf.
Thank you.
Write it down then.
Okay. Are there any more on the motion? Seeing none. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Corbett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler,
Yeah.
and I am in favor.
Motion
Motion.
passes 6 yeas, 1 nay.
I see Ms. Stewart,
Wait a minute.
Ms. Stewart had her hand up before you. Ms. Stewart, can, you have to come to the mic, Ms. Stewart.
Public session is open.
She has a, she raised her hand.
If they didn't give you the information tonight, my thing you shouldn't have voted on.
Give you what in
Information,
the bill
well,
list?
yeah.
Okay, everything was in the bill list. It was just a different format.
Hey, that still wasn't complete. It's not the
No,
way
it
you.
was complete, Ms. Stewart. It was in format. It was just in a different, everything was there. Everything was there. It was a
But so
different-
why question the format then? It wasn't the way it's supposed to be then. The format wasn't what you expected.
It just wasn't what we're accustomed to seeing.
Okay.
But everything else was there.
Okay, so then you didn't need to question it if you're gonna pass it anyway, because if you do this, it's still gonna continue. Give you the format, that, you know, that's just housekeeping, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
The format, because that, then it's gonna be something else.
Yes.
All right, that's
Thank you.
just the point I'm trying to make.
Mr. Matt?
Did you get all that, Mr.
Mr.
Matt?
Matt?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
After consulting with members of the team, it may not be as easy to reproduce that in the format because it would affect the future bill list. It will affect the next bill list. But we will attempt to recreate that. But I just want to make mention of
Mr.
that.
Matt, so you can't request a bill list from this date to this date?
No, it
Ms.
is.
Mrs. Scarry, you cannot yell from the audience.
May I offer a suggestion? Would it be okay
Who's
if I
speaking?
just, my name is Keisha Knight of the Finance Department. Will it be okay if I just gave you the purchase order with just the salaries on it so you can see the salary separate? Is that sufficient? Since everything is in the bill list, just give you the purchase order with just the salaries on it so you can just see it separately.
Councilwoman Easton?
So what you said is the next meeting's bill list is not gonna look like the one that we previously got either?
No, what I'm saying to you is, another issue is we've been having some problems with the purchase order system. So that was one reason why it looks this way, because we wanted to get it to you on time. We wanted the salaries included. So let me just explain to you what generally happens. We generally cut a check for the salaries, and we have it as a hand check on the bill list. But it didn't happen this time. We had to incorporate it because we weren't able to cut the check prior to. It's just a paper check, just so all the salaries can be the same.
I mean, let me just go back to my question. I'm not really concerned about this one because we passed it, so you don't have to do anything different for me. What I'm saying is,
Going forward, the future bill list will look as like you're accustomed to.
Let her answer the question.
Because all I'm gonna, it's just gonna be another bunch of paper I'm gonna throw in the garbage or shred, so you don't have to worry about it.
That's you.
She said for me.
I'm not saying
But-
So
but
what I'm saying is going forward for the May meeting, it will look like the old format.
Yes.
And that's good for me.
But I'm asking you, is it sufficient, because you're concerned about just seeing the salary separate? Is it sufficient if we just give you the salary separately?
Council, we're not adjourned, council members, and somebody, no, we're not closed, there's a question on the floor. No, we did not. No, no, we didn't. Council members, do you want Mrs. Knight to produce a
Miss
list
Knight.
of just all of, Miss Knight?
You said Mrs.
Do you want her to present a list of all the salary and wages?
Council President, it seems as though I opened up this can of worms.
But just answer.
No, they can do their thing next month.
But you don't need anything for this month?
No, come on.
Can you
Okay.
submit the PO?
Thank
I
you.
make a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to adjourn by
All right.
Councilman second by Councilman.
Can't do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
William, Waking Avenue.
Okay. You want this back, sir? No, I need it. I keep it.
Hello there.